week 2 now of the AAOL, presented by AAOL Sports and sponsored by My Republic Gamer. This week, I'm going to be joined by Pi. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, you know. Internet's been a little bit choppy though, I will say that.
Well, speaking of internet, I actually have a great one in mind for you if you're into gaming. My Republic is actually the #1 broadband provider for gaming. It offers fixed broadband plans and services that provide ultra-low, ultra-stable latency connections that optimize your gameplay experience. You can enjoy exciting privileges, special gaming offers, and exclusive access to specialized gaming perks. If you want to learn more about this, feel free to visit myrepublic.net to check them out.
Well, looks like it's right down my alley. I will be checking them out in just a little bit. But first, let's talk about what's going to be coming up later on in today's stream. We've got Isolation Protocol versus Nifty Gaming Phoenix. That's a Div 3 game for everyone keeping track at home. And Diamond Surfers versus KE MegaKontrol. Some viewers might remember KE MegaKontrol from last week, and you'd be right. They're a Division 5 team, and we're going to be following them along a little bit further in tonight's stream. Do you want to explain to the viewers what AAOL is, Pi?
AAOL actually stands for the Amateur Australian Overwatch Ladder. It consists of a weekly casual tournament that's actually held over 10 weeks, and it's split into 2 stages. Each stage is a 5-week round robin. And did you know that AAOL is actually the largest oceanic Overwatch tournament? There have been over 70 teams, 11 seasons, and it supports individual or team-based signups. If you want to learn more about this, feel free to join the AAOL Discord or look up on the website, and there will be links provided below with more information. So tonight we'll be watching Isolation Protocol versus Nifty Gaming Phoenix, both in Div 3. And a little bit of backstory towards these 2 teams. The last time they faced off against each other last season actually ended with Phoenix taking the win with a clean 3-0.
Isolation Protocol is a team that has been together for 3 to 4 months. Their core philosophy is their synergy, and some players to look out for during this match is Distorted V and Tay. Let's hear some hype in chat for Isolation Protocol as we look into their amazing highlight reel. So Phoenix,
hello.
How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
So you're the coach of Isolation Protocol.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Do you feel like they're well prepared for this matchup against Nifty Gaming?
Yeah, I think we've been scrimming hard all week. We had our VOD review on Friday. I think that we've been running through some of our preferred comps, and I think we're really starting to get the hang of it. So hopefully we're looking for a nice upward swing.
We've been told to look out for Distorted V and Tay. Can you tell us a little more about them?
Where to start? Well, Distorted can be quite a dynamic player. That's for sure. He has some very up moments, especially when he's on the Genji. Look out for some big blades. Look out for definitely some highlight reel plays. And Tay, she's one of our newer players, but she's in the last month or so, she's really been grinding. She's really pushed her skill level up, and she's definitely a very consistent player. So you're going to be looking for a bit of a carry in our backline from her.
So, what's your mentality going into this series?
we've actually come off a bit of a rough spot in terms of scrim results and stuff ourselves. Over the past sort of month, we started off a bit rough. We lost a few players. We had to gain a few new ones, and we really had to try and rebuild our synergy. But now we're coming off a bit of a hot streak when it comes to our scrim results, and we're really starting to get our gears going and our wheels moving. So with that synergy building, it's looking good for the future.
Oh, so your core mentality and focus is your synergy.
A team that lacks synergy will struggle to pull off most anything. I think it's basically the backbone of team play. You need to be able to play together, or otherwise you're just reliant on one or two people to pull off immense hero plays or carry plays, and that's not a sustainable way to play the game.
What strategies are you looking to employ in this coming series?
Look, I don't want to release the entire playbook, but I will say a strong point for us is definitely the running a very brawly style dive that you see up in the upper echelons of Overwatch competitive play. With that Monkey Diva, the Reaper Sombra, and the Moira Lucio. I think being able to play together and being able to play together as well as we have lately, we can definitely steamroll some teams, as well as my guys have really started to grasp and thoroughly understand the concept of ult cycling and rotating our ults. So that's looking good for the future.
Would you say that is your team's greatest strength?
I think so. I think our team's greatest strength is that we all get along, and I think that's an underrated quality. I think I myself have been in teams where there's been a lot of in-house fighting and whatnot, and any given night we could be getting along or we could not. But I think the fact that these guys, they all get along, they're willing to play with each other in their free time and really build up that again, the word synergy, but the quality of play is just so much higher when they actually want to be in the match and want to be competing together.
Thank you for that interview, Phoenix. This brings us to our second team of tonight. Our next team also goes by the name of Phoenix. They are Nifty Gaming Phoenix. Created 16 months ago, they actually underwent a name change from Bad Aim Banditos. Perhaps this might have been stemmed from the fact that the majority of them are actually converted from console to PC. And I do have a little bit of interesting background information where Sky, the Rhine specialist on the team, actually has really small hands. And Evil is actually Reformed Doom OTP.
My will.
We're here with G Macken. How you doing tonight?
Good. We're looking forward to tonight's match.
Your opponents for tonight are Isolation Protocol. Do you think we're in for an even matchup?
Yeah, hopefully closer than the ones we've sort of had. We've had a couple of teething issues with our team of late, but hopefully it's all under control.
What's your team's mentality going into this series?
Jeez. I'm trying to think of how to answer that one. Team mentality, we're trying to stay strong, trying to stay as a tight-knit group, trying not, how teams go, trying not to have it infighting.
Any insight into your strategy for those watching?
Definitely been trying some dive lately. Usually we try a rush brawl or a pharmacy, but we'll see what's in store for tonight, I guess.
So we'll be seeing some quick and exciting gameplay from your team at least.
So we're hoping to show.
What's your team's greatest strength?
Great strengths of the team. The team's pretty much been a solid core of the same, at least minimum 4 players for like over a year, I'd say. So we've been together for a fair while.
So a full year's worth of synergizing and Overwatch playing as a team, that is a very long time.
At least 12 months. Like, at least 4 of us have been in the same team, yeah.
We have been told that Scythe and Evolve are console to PC converts. Do you mind going into a little bit more information?
They are, yeah. They've put in the hours. They've definitely become comfortable on PC now, as I'm sure you'll see tonight.
Definitely. And as especially with Evolve being the hit scan, we are definitely going to be seeing if that console aim comes out.
Yeah, definitely keep a close eye on him for sure.
Thanks once again, G-Macken, for the interview. But sadly, that will be all from both me and Pi for tonight. But don't worry, we're going to be handing this off to our casters, Peronius and Niki. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, guys. Hey, everyone. It's Peronius here, joined by Niki. We're going to bring you the action as it unfolds here in this matchup here. First game is going to be Isolation Protocol against NG Phoenix. We'll also be bringing you later in the evening Diamond Surfters against KE MegaKontrol. So look out for that one as well. But first up, we've got this first match here. And how you doing, Niki? Welcome to the party.
Yeah, I'm very keen. It should be an absolute blast. As you said, we are starting off in Division 3 tonight. And it's shaping up to be a pretty exciting match. A few very talented players, or all very talented players. And there's an interesting map pool, lots to look out for, lots to get excited about.
Yeah, definitely. Just going to quickly run over exactly what those maps are. We'll be starting on Busan, and get used to that one. We'll be starting there all through this week. And then it will be the choice of Eichenwald or Hollywood for our next map, followed by Volskaya or Anubis, and Junkertown or Gibraltar. And if we get that far, we'll be finishing up in Nepal. So plenty of room to play for both of these teams. And we'll be getting things underway relatively soon. Just waiting for all the players to get into the lobby, and then we'll be able to get this one underway.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how these map picks kind of unfold, because I think after we see how Busan kind of unfolds, we'll get a bigger picture to kind of what maps teams would pick if they get the chance to pick. Like, if they're favoring the kind of brawly Reinhardt Lucio composition that you might see on something like Busan Mecha Base, then you can get a lot of success on that on Eichenwald, and particularly point A and point C. And then similar thing for Anubis. If you're really comfortable on dive, you'd obviously want to play Hollywood, and then later on in the track you'd want to play Gibraltar. There's lots of maps, and all of them can play to teams' different kind of strengths and players. And I think that is something really important to look out for as we go.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it unfolds there. I mean, we know a little bit from these teams just from previous stuff. We know Isolation Protocol, not a big fan of Pharah, so that may mean that if NG Phoenix are bringing that one out, they're going to look to try and go for the maps that sort of minimize their effect on the game. So I guess that means probably looking at, more Hollywood, Anubis, and Junkertown, I would assume then. But again, as you say, there's a lot of different factors. And it comes into, do you pick a map to shut down what your opponent's doing, or do you pick a map that you play well on? How confident are you in your plays versus how much do you feel a need to disrupt what they're doing? A lot goes into those map picks. So a lot of room for these teams to jostle back and forth.
Yeah, I think that you've done a really good job of explaining that, actually. And there, as you said, there are so many small things that go into those map picks, and it definitely still isn't encouraging you to lose so you can pick the next map, but it adds that extra layer of thought and mind games and just getting into your opponent's head. And it always means that the series is never over. Because even if you lose the first map, you get the next pick straight away. You can play right into how you want to play this series. And then from there, that is where the coin kind of starts to flip over into your favor. And there's just so much potential for back and forth. I'm personally hoping for a few 5-mappers tonight. I am keen to sit in for the long haul, because we're playing in Division 3. This is some high-level Overwatch that is going to go down tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we want to see. I mean, certainly we've seen plenty of opportunities, plenty of occasions, rather, where the first map has gone really one-sided for one team, but the moment things flip and we get that second map, they hit back just as hard. Some teams are just not super strong control. Teams that really favor a very coordinated play, or they've got set plays that they like to set up and execute on. That doesn't play super well on control. Control is a very brawly game mode, which means that there are some teams that just really don't do well in control compared to how well they play on the likes of hybrid, payload, and or escort rather, and assault, especially assault for those sorts of set plays. So it's interesting how that comes out, because obviously being good at control means being really good at that brawly adaptive playstyle, and it can definitely help in other places. But at the same time, it can be a very different game. But control is so often a tiebreaker as well. So like, if you have the choice, you do want to be pretty good at control. But at the same time, I mean, you can afford to drop control if you can pick up everything else.
Yeah, I think I would just quickly, talking about control, I want to quote the Kick Tripod tweet from a couple of weeks back. You don't care about control unless it's your team that won control, then control is very important. I think that's the direct quote. But besides that, yeah, you were kind of talking about control favoring the brawly compositions, and I think that's mainly because Lucio is just so prevalent on control. Lucio with the speed boost can just generate so much value, it can get you to the point quicker, allows you to establish more map control as a whole, and that is just really important in control. And getting as many fights in as possible is also just very, very important. And it looks like we are ready on both sides, Perenius, so our series is about to get underway.
Yeah, we'll be heading straight into Busan. We'll get to see very shortly exactly where in Busan we'll be kicking things off. Looks like it will be in the mech bay, so definitely an opportunity for the teams here to show their stuff with sort of the more close-range compositions than what we'd see in a lot of the other modes. And I'm certainly interested to see what these teams bring out here.
Yeah, I don't think I know. Last week, when we had MegaKontrol and Ori and Scythe playing, there was a lot of Mei play on this map, purely because, and Phoenix is already teasing that, which I absolutely love. Because if you're playing this Mei comp, there's so many little chokes and little pillars that you can use as a choke, wall someone off, isolate that one or two players, and then you can just clean them up, and then from there it's a 4v6. And early on, it looks like both teams are going to be running the Mei, both teams are going to be running the Reinhardt as well. Yeah, it's essentially mirrored comps here, Peronius, but there is going to be a Doomfist instead of a Reaper. The Reaper might bring a lot more frontline pressure, but the Doomfist has maybe a little bit of a higher flank capability as both teams are rolling out now. Yeah,
the pick potential here, and Evol's going to go in, gets that first punch, just locating that Reinhardt. He's looking for something else to do, ends up caught out from the wall, looking to try and find a way back into this. Evol now going in, getting in the uppercut, going to jump away from that one though, not going to commit to that. Scythe making it in, but gets super low, gets taken out there by the opposing Reinhardt of Disco, traded back by our players. So far it's looking pretty good here for NG Phoenix. They've lost their main tank, but they're pulling it back. They're getting the other kills they need in this fight. And it's just a matter of time until they burn down this Zarya. There she goes. They have lost Evil in the meantime, but they've still got the damage here to win this fight. That said, Disco
Good
back
slam.
in there, gets dropped in by the Shadow from side, but the point is unlocked there, and the players from Isolation Protocol taking up position there. Still, I think it's only a matter of time until this one gets won over. Death Blossom invested by Totsudo, but not getting a lot out of that. Just Evil going down again. They don't need Evil to win this fight here. Question is, can that Reaper get enough done here? But with bodies dropping around, it seems pretty unlikely. It's only a matter of time until this one is over. They're getting the work in there, but in the end, not enough to flip it through. Their first control will go to NG Phoenix.
Yeah, that one finally gets cleaned up. And even in that initial fight, right up on the high ground, both Meis were playing so aggressive, just absolutely fearless, pushing so far into enemy territory, looking for that wall. They are looking to make those plays. And eventually it just paid off more for Phoenix. They eventually take control of the point, and now they hold the superior position as the slam comes out.
Yeah, shattered down, but not a lot from it as of yet. Here comes the seismic slam in from the Doomfist. Going to pick up two there. However, a lot of kills in the meantime have gone through in favor of Isolation Protocol. I don't know if Evo can do this one. He's feeling very alone right now. Goes in, is managed to pick up the Reaper, but it's still just Doomfist alone against the world. Will get cleaned up there now, so the point will flip over to Isolation Protocol, 37% on the clock.
Yeah, Disco living up to his name there, making everyone hit the floor with a big slam coming out. And now it's the exact same thing for the side of Isolation Protocol. Since they are holding further forward, they get the chokes and they get to use the May walls.
It's a good early play there, though. Scythe managing to get the better of Disco there is going to set them up for victory. Grav has been invested, and the kill's actually starting to come back in favor here of Isolation Protocol. They've lost Scythe as well, so it's only a matter of time, I think. Isolation Protocol, they should be able to clean this one up, but Jamaican wants to make something about this. There's the Death Blossom in from Totsudo. It's going to pick up Hogtato. Loading has off the map. I think probably a reset at that point. They're kind of all scattered out here in the middle. It's probably need just a clean reset going on here, because I think with Evolve gone, that's just what's going to happen.
Yeah, Isolation Protocol has got to kind of submit ground here. They don't have the May to hold that choke, but these team fights are happening so quickly. Both teams are just unrelenting as the May walls are out again.
Yeah, Loading in there, trying to build up some charge on this Xayah, but not able to get a lot there. The Blizzard in there from the opposing May, causing some difficulties there. Now the ultimates are coming out from NG Phoenix. Evol picks up 2 with the slam, follows through onto a 3rd with Tay as well. This Doomfist going off. That's going to be flipping the point here. Isolation Protocol, 78%. NG Phoenix, not a lot of ground left to give up.
Yeah, we are... But the bright side for NG Phoenix, if they do lose a fight here, with the Lucio, there's definitely time for a recontest, even with working around the hindrance of the May walls. But I'm surprised that G-Macon isn't playing further forward to get value out of the May walls. As I say that, the split comes through in a big Blizzard.
Yeah, big Blizzard in there. Blizzard grab.
Oh, the slam!
Seeing ultimates being committed in here heavily, but already we've had the fight overwhelmingly in favor of NG Phoenix. They do manage to pick up Evol there, but again, Evol is not essential to be winning these team fights. It's been pretty regular theme throughout this. Evol's been going down in these fights, and it's still been able to be picked up from the rest of the members of Phoenix. And on that Doomfist, they can get back very quickly to rejoin as well. We're hitting the last fight territory here now, so we'll see if Isolation Protocol are able to get back onto this point. They've got a few resources available.
Yeah, the Doomfist is getting picked off so early because of the crowd control from the May. The Doomfist cannot get anything done if he's stuck still.
So now we're in. There's the Death Blossom coming out from Totsudo. Going to pick up 2, pick up a 3rd with the shotguns as well. That is looking really good for Isolation getting back control at this point. So they will have one last fight in this round.
Yeah, G-Macon is going to have to get some value out of this Blizzard and hopefully farm it up with a few long-range icicles. They need to land. They need that engaged resource, but it's looking very quick. It looks like they're going underneath, and I don't think that Phoenix is aware, and the wall doesn't get off, and they get mostly through the choke.
Yeah, they've managed to make it on. Scythe has picked up Chana early as well. Evol's gone down, but Scythe going big with the Fire Strike as well. And the Moira Coalescence is there, getting so much damage in there as well as topping up the team. It is clean-up territory now, and I don't know if Totsudo alone is going to be able to win this one out. He does have Chana there to help him out, but not any longer. That is the clean-up through, and it will be NG Phoenix picking up this first round.
Nah, Chana was trying her best there on the Lucio, but it just was not enough. No player could 1v6 clutch that. But whew, everyone have a bit of a breather there. That was some incredibly fast-paced Overwatch. I hope we get to see more of that, because that was... They weren't even giving me time to speak. There was so much going on, and I could only touch on the little things. But there's just so much action going all the way around. That's what these brawl comps do with the Lucio. They want to engage fast. They want to just have as much time fighting as they can, because that's when those close range characters are getting the most value. But now we're seeing a bit of a switch up on the side of Isolation Protocol, opting for our Winston, but looking at the DPS of the Sombra and the Reaper, I think they'll play it more like a dive, no, more like a rush, Even with the Winston, I think that they will look for the rush picks, and the Pharah is out, and it is known that Isolation does not like Pharah, so they're probably shaking in their boots.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. The ceiling here is a little low, so it's not the best Pharah map, but it can definitely happen, it can definitely work, especially when you don't really have a hit scan against you. Scythe down early by Phoenix, So that's a great opening here. The res does get invested, gets that one through, but Hogtato's gone down in the meantime and loading D-Mech as well. The chase is on. They're getting knocked all the way back into spawn. It will be a nice, easy first point control coming through from the members of NG Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm unsure of how I feel about the Sombra pick.
That was just
yeah, that was interesting. An immediate flip back and just another fight straight away. Wait, no, there is a reset actually. I lied to you. I'm sorry. That was such a confusing interaction. But the tanks are there, the Winstons and the Divas, they're playing fast, they're looking for those targets to engage on, and with the help of the Lucio of Chana, hoping to get some value out of these ultimates.
Pulse Bomb gets thrown into the defense matrix. Not a great start here for Evil, but Tay on the other hand picks up both the tank and getting a D-Mech. Yeah, pick up both the tanks, in fact, with the Coalescence there on the Moira. This is looking really good for the members of Isolation Protocol, who just need to get back on this point and prevent it from getting back capped there. I'm not going to give up any more cheeky percentage like they did previously. I've got this point locked down with this comp.
Now that was so confusing. My hands are actually on my head right now, just trying to kind of digest what exactly is going on. But what I do know is that there are a lot of ults up at the moment, but crucially not that EMP. That EMP is going to be really big in locking down these mobile characters that NG Phoenix are running.
Here comes the Death Blossom in there. Tatsuda's going to pick up one, gets the Lucio from that. Phoenix Risen, however, traded back immediately by loading. There goes Tay as well, so a couple of key pieces missing from Isolation Protocol. Pulse Bomb goes off as well, not enough to confirm any kills from that one. This fight is really anyone's up in the air at the moment. A lot of jumping around. We have Disco primaling, comes out of the primal now, looking to get some damage done in there, but we're going to see like an immediate re-engagement coming back through from Phoenix because they need to commit into this. 90% on the clock. This is the last fight. We see the sound barrier coming down. They need to go for this, but they need to start picking up some kills. Losing Jamaican down there is a good start for them. They've got Evol as well. They can turn this one here. They're finally getting the kills. They're going to be able to flip this point.
Yeah, and it looks like the Isolation Protocol are closing this up. Gonna even out Busan 1-1. But I think that the big reason that these fights were also scrappy and kind of hard to keep up with is because they were playing dive, and they were playing dive tanks, and they were treating it like a dive comp, but I don't think they should have. Because if you were looking at the compositions, who exactly are they trying to dive? You can't really dive a Moira or a Lucio. You don't want to dive into a Sombra or a Reaper. They're either just so mobile or so adept at shutting down people engaging onto them. And there's no one really to dive, so it's just kind of a bit of a Mexican standoff. It is a bit of a brawly who can left click the hardest, really. But we're going to see a bit of a change up again. Finally, not mirrored compositions. It's going to look like, notably Evol on the Widow. Going to try and utilize the high grounds that Busan provides here. And you can see he is already up there, just trying to get as many sightlines through the point as they can, hoping to pick off some people in rotation.
Yeah, good opening shots there. Getting a lot of damage there onto Disco. Disco very low, but will get the healing. Will get to safety from that bubble. And Evil having to duck away from that Reaper. In fact, the Reaper chases. Tatsudo puts that one down. However, Phoenix Risen has been traded back as well. So both teams equal at this point. We have Megan on the hunt on that Mei, trying to get in there, get the team freezes going on, give their team an opportunity to push through. Doesn't quite pay off there yet, but we have Disco very low there on the Winston. The kills starting to come through in favor of Isolation Protocol. They're looking like they will be able to clean this one up. They have to deal with that nice block of Mei. Shouldn't be too long. That will be the point flip.
I'm still so unsure to how this dive is working. Like, Tatsudo using the Reaper teleport almost as a dive engage itself onto the Widow up on the high ground where he is currently located with the Winston. But it's just so... yeah, I'm not sure how the dive is working. And as they're rotating back through the right side again, just playing into the enclosed space, that's kind of where they don't want to be out in the open. They want to play enclosed so their Mei and the Lucio can get the most value possible.
Yeah, Sound Barrier gets dropped in there just to save Disco. Now Disco's going primal. He's got Lucio pinned in the corner. But another Sound Barrier being dropped, this time from Pogtato, will keep that from resulting in any kills there. Primal leaving. Disco's got to get out of there. Still, the point's starting to flip. Isolation Protocol, they haven't lost anyone yet, but a lot of people low, very spread out. Now the Coalescence coming in from Tay, looking to turn this one back. Death Blossom, spin to win, coming through from Totso, and spin to win it absolutely is. Huge Death Blossom, a couple of people there to help clean it up as well. And that should be a secured fight from Isolation.
Yeah, that's probably the cleanest fight that we've seen while dive comp, at least one team has been running a dive comp. And that is purely because that EMP came through, just immobilizing everyone. They really didn't have much choice what to do. They just kind of accepted that Reaper Blossom into open arms. And notably now, the Reinhardt side of NG Phoenix is rotating all the way around the map. I think that's a good move. So they have less time that in rotation that they are susceptible to a dive.
Shadow gets dropped there, and Silas already taken Tetsudo back to spawn. However, Disco trades back on our plays. But a couple more calls coming back through. Evil putting in the work. Shana's down. Disco's down. Now they've lost Tay as well. That is all of the healing backline there. It's only a matter of time now to clean up these remaining members. It should be a point flip for Phoenix and not a moment too soon.
Yeah, they didn't really have much more time to give up. That 98% Isolation Protocol is sitting on. So this is indeed one fight territory. But now this is where the comp of NG Phoenix is going to have a bit of a better time. Most notably with the Mei, because the Mei, they can try and use the isolation with the Mei walls as they engage, but they don't get the chance to as Winston immediately takes the high ground.
Yeah, Disco straight in on top of it. They've taken loading completely out of this game. They need to trade back immediately. They've lost Scythe as well. That is both the tanks down. A couple of kills coming back from the support line though. Support line trying to get it back into this one, but Disco sends Jamaican off with the Primal Rage, and Tate's picked up Evil as well. Not a lot of members remaining here from the members of NG Phoenix. This is the last fight. They cannot afford to give this one up, and so we will have the tanks trickling back in, trying to make something desperately, but it is just two tanks alone against an entire team, and sure enough, they get taken apart really quickly.
Yeah, Isolation Protocol is taking the first map of our series here, going to go up 1-0, and that was just mostly thanks to NG Phoenix just being unable to kind of pick apart that dive. It devolved so scrappy each time, and if you're playing a Lucio comp, you kind of don't want it to be scrappy, because you want to be able, the team comps to be clear, so you can speed boost engage on one person, much like you would a dive. But the focus fire was there from Isolation Protocol when it got scrappy. They kept things alive, they kept things going, and they go up in the series. But now it is map pick for NG Phoenix, excuse me. And I'm really interested to see what they pick. As we mentioned earlier, their options are Eichenwald and Hollywood. And we know Scythe particularly to be Reinhardt's specialist. Reinhardt is where he is most comfortable when he's playing main tank. And that would suggest to me probably a better look at Eichenwald, because there's just less high ground that the Reinhardt wouldn't have access to. There's a more opportunities to play kind of like close-up brawly style. But I'm still unsure of what's going to come along.
Yeah, I mean, Eichenwald, I don't know, like, Eichenwald's second is not Reinhardt's friend, though. Really, I think both Hollywood and Eichenwald very similar maps in sort of the playout, and then you have that second stage with a lot of high ground. Your first stage, you can play high ground, you can not play high ground based on where you want to set up, and then the third stage being very up close in both of them. I think there's a lot in common these two maps have, so I don't know. I feel like Reinhardt on Hollywood probably plays out in second a bit better than an Eichenwald, but again, it really just comes into how much momentum you can come into that streets phase with, because both of them are not super ideal for old Reinhardt there.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong. Neither are optimal. Really, what I imagine NG Phoenix was hoping for and picking maps is just King's Row.
Yeah,
That's all they want. Just be able to play King's Row all the time, because, of course, Undisputed, it is the best map in Overwatch. Tell me otherwise, tweet at me, and I will prove you wrong. But it appears that the map pick is going to be Hollywood Perennia, so your theory proving a bit more valid than mine is, and I'm unsure. Oh, Halloween Hollywood, that could be fun. But no, yeah, we're getting extra spoopy around here. But Hollywood is, again, another interesting map. I really have no idea what to expect, other than Eichenwald is probably a bit more favorable to a Farah than a Hollywood is. Other than that, I think it's pretty similar, and I'm just expecting some more really fast Overwatch, lots of quick engages. But we mentioned earlier, Brawl and that fast kind of style is very, very prominent on Control. So we might just see a complete switch up in how the game is being played here. Yeah,
definitely. We'll have to see what heroes they roll out with from the defense. But we'll be, what heroes they roll out from the defense, what heroes they lock over in Spawn as we head over here. Certainly, we may see the Widowmaker come back out at Hollywood, but it really depends. I mean, you've got to be confident in your Widowmaker, right? Especially if you're running it on defense. So we'll see what they want to roll out with here as we head into Hollywood.
Yeah, we did see Evil very briefly play the Widowmaker on Busan Downtown. That was the final stage there. The end, it didn't come to much fruition, unfortunately. It did land a few nice shots, but the way that you play Widowmaker on Hybrid or any other game mode is so different to how you would on Control, because you, especially on the defense, you get to set up, you get to change those angles, and the team's always coming from the one direction, and you always know roughly what they're going to do. They only have a few options, and there's a few ways that they can approach it. They can either come to the objective or they can come to you. Control is a bit more cooped up, a bit more cramped, and you don't really have that option. And on the defense, we're looking at another Sombra Reaper kind of rushy dive defense. I don't even know what to call this comp. Someone in chat leave a cool name for this, please. But if we're looking at the comp on NG Phoenix, which I personally think, is a lot more interesting, they're treating the Pharah as a sniper. So it's essentially a double sniper comp. And what kind of, like, the only real challenge that the Pharah would have is probably the D.Va. But the other option is to completely ignore the fire and try and engage, particularly probably on the Moira of Pagado when it's a 4v6 because the Mercy's up in the sky.
Yeah, and it seems to be what's happening so far. They're just rolling through the enemy front line, or rather it's not what's happening, as the members of Phoenix just roll through Isolation Protocol, the superior close range potential that they have. With that Reinhardt just taking down Disco almost immediately. Evil picks up a nice kill onto Console Scrub as well. It's preventing that D.Va from, getting away and getting the remake, I guess. I almost feel like maybe you wanted to stagger her, but either way, that's the first point well and truly under control.
Yeah, I think that this is starting to become an uphill battle for NG Phoenix, so they have no tanks that can take the high ground, and they have no Lucio to speed around the Reinhardt, because their Lucio player is on the Mercy with the Pharah. So I'm struggling to see how the Reinhardt's going to get significant value here, but Phoenix doesn't translocate out. It's getting a bit too greedy looking for that EMP charge, which of course is very important, but at the end of the day, your life is more, because you cannot generate if you're dead.
Absolutely. So losing that one gives an opportunity for some free play. However, Totsudo over onto the Ash, picks up 2, and a big 2 as well. Takes out the Pharah and then the Moira. Outplays does get the res back onto Jamaican, but that does mean that that Mercy is going to be needed for healing duty there. We get into a very scrappy fight here. Scythe managing to pick up someone, but it looks like Totsudo on the Ash, still carrying this one through. Disco back alive as well, zapping people down, trying to disrupt this retreat. Going for it, Maz managed to pick up loading with the help of Totsudo there, getting the final blow. That's going to be pretty good. You always want to kill that Zaya, make sure she gets away with no charge.
Yeah, okay. So the adaptation to counter the Pharah was Totsudo swapping to the Ash. That makes sense, particularly with Mercy, Damage Boost, Dynamite. It also, when you're running a Winston D.Va, it gives you the option to deploy Bob on the cart to contest the cart, which is very underrated, as the Nano Boost of Winston goes in very, very early.
Yeah, Disco going in super quick, super deep with that Nano, gets shattered, but is able to just jump away to safety. Not a lot coming from any of those ultimates there. Still, you take that one if you are the members of NG Phoenix nonetheless, as you look to try and shut this one up. Totsudo on the high ground. Does manage to get the counterpart, but immediately gets barraged away by Jamaican, but I think that's all Jamaican's going to get done with that one. It's taken out by Tay. The res has come through onto Totsudo, so this is still looking really good for the defense.
Yeah, the EMP came out from Phoenix. It only caught the supports, but that appears to be enough, because if you catch the supports, there's no kind of ultimates to invest there, no like really heavy defensive ultimates to keep each other alive, the peel is limited, all that jazz, and they get cleaned up. But because Totsudo is on the Ashe and Chana is pocketing him on the Mercy, Loading's gonna have a essentially a free grab here, excluding just avoiding that defense matrix for console scrub. Because there's no sound barrier or transcendence or any like defensive support of that kind of variety when you're playing the Mercy. That's what you sacrifice. You sacrifice the speed boost and you sacrifice that really heavy ultimate. So Loading is going to be looking for that one, but it's going to be hard to land when they are on the high ground. But they are waiting for the elevator. They are mostly up, and the bombing gate is very early.
Yeah, Diva Bomb over the top. Disco jumps in with it, looking to capitalize on it, and to create a lot of space. Totsudo able to pick up Jamaican again. Really nice biotic grenade there is going to make it so dangerous for this team. Disco going ham, cleaning these ones up. What a great fight there from the defense.
Yeah, that was all off the back of that nade from Tay. She landed that one absolutely perfectly onto probably about 3 or 4 players there. And then Disco was immediately following up there. There's on the Winston. There's that consistent damage. If they're all grouped up on the high ground, that Tesla Cannon's going to hit everyone. And because of that, another Primal Rage is online, just displacing everyone. Graviton Surge was unable to be used from Loading, so I think that is what we should look out for in this fight. Because they're obviously trying to push high ground. And we were talking about it before. This is the real downside of playing this Reinhardt composition. And the Engage, they're taking the fight to them, Peronius.
Yeah, they're pushing forwards. The defense is really good at picking the fights it wants here. It's another great grenade from Tate coming in there. We see Loading around the outside. They're just looking to try and get some free cart progress here. The Isolation Protocol, they backed off from this one. Members of Phoenix, they managed to get away from that. They got the res onto Evil as well. So all 6 on both sides once again. Phoenix just looking to put some pressure onto that rooftop. Get some damage in there. They're slowly pushing this cart up the road. Isolation Protocol just waiting for their team to get back. Disco coming back from spawn. Now the engagement with a great EMP. Huge EMP, huge biotic grenade again coming through from Tay. And it is just easy cleanup from here when you're hitting those big crowd control abilities.
Yeah, 6-man EMP. There's not really much hope coming back from that. And now we're just back to exactly where we were before. There's 40 seconds left, and Scythe finally submitting, swapping over to the Winston. And I think that is absolutely crucial, because now you can engage the high ground. You have a Zarya bubble to accompany that. The Reaper can teleport up there, the Mercy can fly up there, Ashe can boost up there, there's a Bob. There's so much more potential to control the high ground, and that's what Protocol were doing so well. Holding that high ground is the real strength of this comp, particularly on this part of Hollywood. And now there's the fight's ensuing, and there's a Graviton Surge out.
Yeah, Grav Surge out, only manages to get a Primal, sorry, not Primal, but a Nano Winston. So it's going to keep everything alive over the top. Death Blossom coming in. Good biotic grenade there, actually saves the life of Disco on the Winston. He's managing to keep getting away from these near-death situations. Really good support play, however, unfortunately, Scythe is going to be chasing down Totsudo, and Evo is going to pick up Chana as well. So I think they finally managed to do this one. Scythe on the Winston there does have the tools needed to finally break through this defense. And Scythe now going deep, just trying to maybe stagger a few extra members. Isn't going to be able to get that kill. Now with the team surging forwards, you can see the members of Isolation Protocol backing away to set up their final line of defense.
Yeah, and B is finally taken after a bit of a struggle, and you can see Scythe playing so aggro on the high ground, just kind of giving Isolation Protocol a taste of their own medicine. Because holding the high ground is so crucial, particularly as a Winston player, because you can engage onto the people below you without having to invest your movement abilities. But that isn't the case, as there's a bit of a Tesla Cannon battle going up top, and Phoenix falls on like essentially 9% to EMP. That is massive.
Yeah, it's not the first time Phoenix has not managed to get out from these ones. Disco's going Primal, just trying to keep himself alive in this one. They've lost Scythe as well. It could be anyone's game here. It could be risky to push in without Scythe. And yeah, I think The Phoenix Risen will be back on that Sombra. Bob being committed into the fight. Here we go. That's 2 big kills right off at the start of the fight. Totsudo and Console Scrub picking up. And this is both the supports now as Disco picks up Pogtato as well. Scythe manages to trade back, but it might be too little too late here. There's not a lot of time left on this clock, and they really don't have the members. Phoenix gonna step forwards, trying to force it, but like, waiting for the team. Yeah, okay, they're getting a few extra members here before they go in. It's still not a comfortable position to be in. They've got one last shot at this one. Very little tools, and that's the Diva Bomb through. That could be big. Doesn't manage to get anything yet, but Jamaican does manage to pick up Disco, gets traded out almost immediately. It's a scrappy fight here on Hollywood third, but slowly the kills coming through in favor of the defense. There's the grab in from loading though. That could be big if they can just finish off these members, and they do. They manage to finish off everyone there. They might just get this one across the line. I don't think anyone's going to be able to stop this one. Maybe they do get the Doomfist in to delay the cart, but it is so close. They're just going to be able to tap it across the line, and there it is.
They do cap in overtime, and that overtime number is pretty crucial in the hybrid game mode, because now if the opposition's attack and they complete, if Isolation Protocol completes with more than a minute left, the worst that Isolation can do on this map is draw. So that is guaranteeing no evening up this series, and that's a little bit scary. So the defense here from Phoenix is going to have to be strong. And I'm wondering, because Scythe was so persistent on kind of playing that Reinhardt on second point, if that will kind of come through again on the defense. I'm hoping not, because the high ground control, I'm rambling on about it, I know, but it is just so important, and it's the main feature of Hollywood Second. That's what it's known as. It's known as the big high ground map. Lots of cool catwalks, lots of cool high ground kind of shenanigans going on. And Scythe is on the Reinhardt, this time accompanied with a Mei. So it's going to be a similar story to what we saw on, Mecha Base Busan, with hopefully when the opposition's engaging into them, the Mei can chalk up that wall, both break line of sight with the supports, like friendly supports, and then it can just prevent them from backing up. That Mei wall is a very important kind of tool, and we see the Doomfist hiding aggro as well. So they are looking to play around this choke, or at least this corner of the first point. And again, there's nothing new here from Isolation Protocol. The same compositions.
Great opening fire strike will pick up Tay. That's going to see the immediate retreat from the members of Isolation Protocol. I do like the chase is on. The members of Phoenix looking to try and pick up what they can. They're not able to confirm onto anything else due to the mobility available from this team. Phoenix Risen's going to swap over onto the Pharah. They're going to straight away take advantage of the lack of hit scan, and that could definitely give them an edge here as they look to take this first point.
Yeah, the Pharah is going to be a bit of an issue, but if they can take out the rest of the team before the Pharah gets too much done, it's still winnable, and that's possible with the Lucio. The Rhino company with the Lucio is so much better than without, gives them the extra mobility to almost dive.
Yeah, Evo goes deep, but ends up getting traded out by Disco, not able to make that one happen. That said, they picked up Scythe in the meanwhile. We have Disco just monstering everyone with this Winston, just pushing them back. There's so many people on low health. They've had to back out from that one. So it looks like Isolation Protocol, they will get this first point. And hasn't looked like, so far it doesn't look like there's been any adaptations from the defense. No, I tell a lie, Evol's gone on to the Widow.
Yeah, the Widow is one just really good on Hollywood B. So many little nests for that Widow crow's nest to sit up on. Big long sight lines, particularly where Evol is situated at the moment, is so far away that a lot of the times a dive won't even be able to get to the Widow in one attack. It's kind of a two-pronged dive as such. But the Pharah is just pushing forward, and the Pharah is still alive, just playing around the general store to avoid the sightlines.
When Evil gets the Widow duel against Totsudo, the kills coming through from both teams, however, they are definitely favoring the Phoenix on red. Have managed to get the res back onto Totsudo, but Isolation Protocol, they're running a little dry. That said, Disco pops in the Primal Rage. He's trying to go it. It's sort of just Disco against everyone else. Takes a lot of damage there. It's going to be a lot of ultimate charge there for the members of NG Phoenix here. As Isolation Protocol, they have to back up, get the healing. They're going to be going back into it now, though. And Evo, again, winning the Widow duel. It's a good opening there. There's the barrage in from Phoenix, so that's both tanks down. That's a big go button.
Yeah, Phoenix actually hit a really nice little rocket barrage there, utilizing the little arch to cut off line of sight from anyone that could be looking from that angle. Just really smart positioning, because that ult, it's powerful, it does a lot of damage, but you're also just so susceptible, you're stationary, it's so easy to get picked off, particularly by someone like a Widowmaker. And now Evo is, for the first time on Hollywood B, playing into a losing situation, because Tsudo now has the high ground. Tsudo has that advantage, that silent advantage, he has to be pushed into, all that kind of stuff. And there's just so much spam coming into the chokes with the fire. Scythe is already only half HP once he lands on the target.
Oh, Evo, though, picks up Chana, picks up Phoenix Risen. Great play there from the Widow now. Giving them control of the skies. However, Disco's picked up Pogtato in the backline. Evo picked up Totso as well. This Widowmaker is going ham here. This is maybe exactly what they need to shut down this defense. Now, Scythe has picked up Tay. I think it's time for Isolation Protocol to head back to the drawing board for this one.
Yeah, in that fight, Evo was hitting more body shots than a swimsuit calendar. It's getting a lot of damage done. The headshots weren't even needed, just chunking them down, getting those finishing blows when needed, and Disco pops the primal. Oh, that is so bad. I imagine that was a fat finger or a misunderstanding of how many teammates were alive, but that was a really crucial mistake there from Disco. And now he won't have that for the oncoming fight. It's less likely that he'll be able to escape from something like a Blizzard or something like a Graviton Surge.
And Evil again picks up both the supports. Just 2 clean headshots there. Make that 3 as he picks up Phoenix Risen as well. Evil is definitely putting in a show to, at the very least, be the MVP of Hollywood, if not this series. Nice styling cleanup one on the Diva as well. This Widowmaker has just been absolutely instrumental to this second point defense, and Phoenix Risen's actually going onto the Genji to try and deal with it.
Yeah.
No!
How is this happening? Evil is playing these sightlines just so sublimely, and because there's no like shield tank or a Reinhardt or anything like that to kind of rotate behind, the Widow's just getting free shots in rotation. The Diva of Console Scrub needs to be more careful. Console Scrub needs to defense matrix them teammates while they're passing those sidelines and eat those shots from the Widowmaker. The sights are out, and they're winning these fights purely off the back of those picks, and because of that, they had 6 ults going for that. The sights have been used, but there are 5 ults left to just use and invest to just win this fight, and they need to use them sparingly. They cannot use them all at once to keep this ultimate economy intact.
Yeah, the engagement comes in on Evil, but it doesn't matter! Chana gone again! They're just hunting for this Mercy. Finally, Phoenix Risen is going to remove Evil from the board. However, they've lost their Mercy. That's going to be a huge disadvantage coming into this fight. Outplays now takes out Disco. Diva Bomb being invested there. Sound Barrier comes in from Pogtato. Going to keep everyone topped up on the defense here. And Totsudo on the high ground with the coach gun is going to get that Winston off their back at least for a little while. But again, the fight has really realistically been won here. And it's again, we see Isolation Protocol. They're into sort of a weird regrouping phase. Evil again removes Totsudo from the game. 15 seconds left on the clock, so the res gets invested by Chana. No time to mess around. But Evol's still going ham. There goes Tay. Outplays has picked up Phoenix Risen as well.
Aggro he is
going on the hunt. Aggro Widowmaker hunting for supports. And Evol has just single-handedly shut down every push coming through Hollywood B here. This is going to be NG Phoenix picking up Hollywood.
Oh my goodness, Evil, what was that? That was filthy! I need to have a shower. The blade's coming out, but I imagine that it's gonna kind of be in vain. There's a last-ditch attempt, holding on B, and again, the high ground is the most crucial part in this kind of whole series so far. And even Chana in chat, just Evo, calm down. Woo! I'm so keen to see this play of the game, actually. This man was absolutely insane, landing all of those shots. There's one, there's two, and just looking for that third. I think this is a jump shot. Nice! Evo, that is just absolutely devastating Widowmaker play from that. And now that Widow is just so ingrained in the mind of Isolation Protocol, and series is evened up 1-1. It's Isolation Protocol's map pick. I hope they don't go to Volskaya, because if they, because if Isolation Protocol, they do. Oh no, wait. I'm sorry, I screamed into my mic there a bit too loud. I'm sorry, but Isolation Protocol is, if they play Volskaya, if they pick Volskaya, they're playing right into the strengths of Evol, because there's just so many sight lines, particularly on point A. It's well known for like a double sniper kind of point, high grounds that you can utilize, so many different crossfires that you can generate. I think that they realistically should go to Anubis unless they have some kind of strategy that is very set on Volskaya. They're more comfortable in it for whatever reason. Maybe more Sombra play. They played a little bit of Sombra, and Volskaya is traditionally a good Sombra map, but then again, so is Anubis. Like, I am just very concerned for the fate of Isolation Protocol if Evil keeps on playing like he just did on Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to worry about there, because like we saw Totsudo briefly pull out the Widowmaker to try and challenge it, was just getting shut down by Evo, went over the Ashe to try and have a bit more utility, maybe pick those fights, but the moment the pressure wasn't on Evo from any of the DPS, Evo was just hunting supports and absolutely destroying them. And then, you know, for good measure, would go and clean up the DPS as well. So, an incredible performance there. And you're right that both of these maps do give an opportunity for the Widowmaker there. It's just, it comes down to where the Widowmaker can really shine. But both the point A's on Volskaya and Anubis can definitely really be played around Widowmaker a lot. So, we'll see if that's how Phoenix run their Volskaya defense. I mean, Volskaya does have that extra one of point B, Widow being very good as well, whereas you wouldn't really want to run Widow on point B Anubis defense unless you absolutely had to, probably as a counter sniper. So certainly a lot of room on Volskaya for Evol to do exactly that again. That said, we did see towards the end, Phoenix Risen went over to the Genji and was having some success in hunting down Evol. So maybe if we see that adaptation coming in a lot sooner, maybe they can shut down this Widowmaker and really make it happen here.
Yeah, I think that, well, something has to change for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the Genji is kind of a bad start. It plays into the dive. Disco's been playing a lot of Winston and been having a lot of success on it. And that Genji kind of plays into that. You can just get right up their grill, land some deflects. I think that it's also that deflect is a bit of a long-range threat. Like, you need to be careful of when you're shooting at a Genji, wherever you are. Because that deflect is just so potent. Quite literally, just sending the bullets right back to you. And yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a pretty good fan of the Genji, because Totsudo wasn't having much success in that counter sniper battle.
No,
because the counter sniper is the very obvious thing that you'd go to. Oh, Widowmaker doing good, I go Widowmaker myself. I left click, that's good. But it just wasn't working out. And Evol just really proving himself as the dominant Widowmaker in that matchup, so something else has to be done. And that's when the Widowmaker becomes more than a one-man job to deal with. It becomes a whole team job. And because of that, Evol is absorbing all of those resources into himself. And once all the resources are kind of invested into the Widowmaker, Scythe and the rest of the dive or whatever they're playing has just so much more freedom and is watched less closely, so they have more chances to engage, do some more fun things. Because they're just spreading out their attention over the Widowmaker, and then everyone else, it's split. And then it isn't as focused, and then that's when they have to strike.
exactly. And I think the other thing, the big thing that plays into it is we saw initially Evol's playing sort of your traditional conservative Widowmaker angles, but as they grew more and more confident in what was going on and that there was no one really challenging them, we saw just how aggressive Evol was getting before the end of the round. They were taking some very aggressive positioning to hunt down those supports, and it made a huge difference. Those team fights were ending so quickly because Evol was getting all of those crucial kills, compared to the fights that were happening a little earlier on where they were playing much more conservative traditional angles, and they were definitely getting the important kills, but they weren't getting them nearly as quickly. And so some of those fights were a little dicey. We saw a bit of cart progress happening as well. And it was really once Evol sort of began to feel really confident that, yeah, no, I can totally school on these guys, that it really came alive. And we started to see the super aggro Widowmaker play that's just so dynamic and fun to watch.
Yeah, you were talking about confidence there, which you definitely noticed in how Evol was playing. He was getting more and more like confident in how he was playing, exactly. And I think that is going to be slightly impacted by this pause as well, because there's a bit of a break, there's a bit of time for Isolation Protocol to try and just wipe that absolute massacre from their memory, and before we go into the next map. And that break is just so good for resetting your mental, and it also just kind of slows down the momentum on the side of Isolation Protocol. Isolation Protocol? NG Phoenix, excuse me. Yeah, that's my bad. Yeah, so it's just really important in slowing down that momentum. So this pause could just be good for a bathroom break, but it could also just be good in kind of figuring out your mental.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good opportunity for Isolation Protocol to get their foundations back under themselves. Remember that, hey, look, we won the first map. We're good at this. We know how to play this game. We definitely can beat them. We just need to not let them do that. And, come into this one with maybe a bit of a different plan. Because, I mean, we saw in the first round, Evo tried to pull out the Widowmaker, got shut down, got forced off it, didn't get to play that one. And as you were saying, it is a bit harder on Control because people can pop up from all sorts of unexpected angles. But still, we can definitely see what happens when Evol's not able to play that one and is forced to have to adapt to the game around them. And that's what we need to see from these teams. We need to see Isolation Protocol force Evol to play by their rules rather than having to play the Evol game.
Yeah, because Evol was comfortable, and as soon as that's happening, we saw the absolute monstrosity that unfolded when Evol was feeling himself, and we do not want that again. As, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming into Temple of Anubis as our assault map. I think that is the better choice. I think that I agree with that. Excuse me, from the perspective of Isolation Protocol. It makes a lot of sense, because Volskaya is 2 good Widowmaker points, Anubis is only 1, and after that you do not want Evol the option to play that Widowmaker, and already straight onto the sniper for the defense. And there's a few different places that Evol can set up here on the defense. You can set up on the 2 further back high grounds, and also the little kind of lamp on the kind of awning over the little back market thing right behind the point, which is a little bit lower. So there's those kind of 3-4 places that you can stay in. Or you could also, at the very start, position very early aggro on the arc, looking for those early shots. But I think that where Widowmaker gets the most value out of on this point of Anubis in particular is catching those people in rotation because odds are Isolation Protocol is going to want to go left into the offensive.
Very aggressive peek, and almost manages to pick up Chana right out the gate as well. I'm going to see the drop back probably going up onto the high ground there. Totsudo on the Widow of their own, looking to challenge this one.
Yeah, look how many resources are being, even composition-wise, are being invested into shutting down Evol. There's Widowmaker, there's Genji, there's a full dive, and it is enough. Evol does fall, and look at that from Phoenix Risen, camping that body, no chance for a resurrect. That is really good play, knowing that there's a Mercy on the field.
Yeah, really good play there, definitely. Now we have Scythe going after the Ana, though. Will manage to pick up Tay. Totsudo has gone down as well, so Scythe putting in the work there now. They're actually going to ignore the Mercy, going back for the point instead. No, they're thinking about it. what are they? Yeah, there's a Mercy trapped in the room. Scythe is going to hunt her down eventually, but she's not going to get away from that one. And Evil has made it back into this one, actually taking down Phoenix with a bit of the old SMG action from that. Totsudo trying to hold this angle, trying to catch Evo out, but yeah, Evo is looking for a bit of a sniper duel going on as these tanks also exchange pleasantries in the front line. Scythe once again in and deep, but the Primal Rage coming out from Disco is going to make that one a bit of a one-sided one. Totsudo's picked up Gamaiken. That's a good pick up there, but Evil's picked up Chana once again, and Loading has picked up the Genji as well. Console Scrub now managing to remove Evil from the field, but Disco's on this point trying to make it happen. Scythe has dropped Primal just to get back to this one quickly, immediately straight onto Tay, boxing Tay into the corner. Disco's gone down in the meanwhile there, and that will be Tay gone as well. So Isolation Protocol, they're getting control of this point back. That's 2 minutes off the clock already.
Yeah, a pretty swift retake there, and that was just Loading on the point, just beaming down Disco. The shield dancing was just not super effective then, escaping that damage from the Zarya. But now this is where the ultimates come up. There's a Nanoblade combo, and much like before, there is no Lucio Sound Barrier or Transcendence, but you cannot pop Genji Blade if you are dead.
Yeah, that's a pretty big problem there. They do get the res onto him, but in the meantime, they've lost Disco, so they're going to have to back off and reset once again. And we just have this sniper duel. Totsudo wins that one again, and is going to be able to keep the pressure onto that ground. Now the res is going to come through, but that's just going to see the blade come straight on top of that. And will be a second one as well, as Phoenix picks up two, picks up another one. Totsudo actually getting the kill onto Evil after the res as well. And that is actually going to be the point cleared. Good use of the blade there. I like it coming out there onto the resing Mercy.
Yeah, and that was like the goal of that from Phoenix Prison, or that was called somewhere in the team, because that blade was popped and planned like as or before that res went off, and that is just good knowledge of what the opposition was going to do. Read them like a book, got good value out of it, and now AAOL is swapping over to the Moira on the defense, and I'm unsure how I feel about that. I think that the Ana provided a lot more utility in the Bionade, but maybe they're just scared of the dive from the Genji in that and just wants to stay a bit more safe.
Evil's managed to go in. He's picked up one. He's traded out, but we saw that a lot with Evil on the Doomfist earlier. They're quite happy to trade for a kill, especially when you're defending something like a Nuba second. You can afford to lose that one person because you're respawning so quickly. Doomfist gets straight back into that fight. This is a brutal stagger on Console Scrub.
Yeah, it wasn't the bad as the one that we saw last week, actually. It was on Anubis again. It was very brutal, and there's just no cliffs to jump off. You're just kind of stuck. And Disco, swapping over to the Reinhardt, wholesale composition changes coming through, actually. I think that attacking Widowmaker on point B isn't as viable, so I'm a big fan. So now with this, they're going to utilize the Lucio speed boost and just try and rotate all the way through left, but they were caught in rotation, and Tay, she falls.
Yeah, really nice play. Evil's just jumping onto this, just getting a lot of damage in there with the Doomfist, getting out, playing it safe. But other members of the team following through. Now we've got a brutal brawl in this side room that it looks like the members of NG Phoenix are going to comfortably win, but definitely a messy fight nonetheless. And again, Console Scrubs are stuck out of mech here, just desperately trying to get back, and they are not letting it happen.
Nah, Loading having some form of mercy there. Think that you could have held on to that stagger effect for a little bit longer, but that shaves so much time off the clock. Already down to about 1:45, and there's still ultimates online, most notably for the defense here on NG Phoenix, the Space Jam, the Graviton Surge, and the Meteor Strike. Just grouping people up and then just slamming down at everyone has a lot of potential, and that's coming out now.
Yeah, there it is, over the top, trying to find a gap through the shield. The self-destruct manages to pick up Scythe, but Evol's back in there, picks up 3 with the Doomfist play, and AAOL plays gets another one with the Coalescence. Pogtato catching Tay, and now Evol just trying and get the D-Mech on the retreating D.Va. Doesn't manage to get it this time. But a minute left on the clock means there's not a lot of time left for this Isolation Protocol push, and they really still don't have a lot of resources to make it happen.
Nah, the Blizzard and the Coalescence is all that is around. And Pogtato is coming up on that Sandbar as well, which will shut both of those down very well. And the Coalescence engage comes through, Blizzard thrown all the way onto the point. Not so much catching people, but just giving them position on the point, which is very, very important.
Yeah, a couple of early kills coming through here. It's a good start here for Isolation Protocol, but they need to get it cleaner or the reinforcements will be back. Totsudo drops the Death Blossom, only manages to pick up loading there. Jamaican finally gets cleaned up. Now they're getting a tick. Now they're getting some progress. But the respawns will be just rejoining into this one. Totsudo pushed up very aggressively. Sound Barrier is in to try and prevent it, but Totsudo still playing very aggressively into this Reinhardt side. Finally gets taken out. 2 points of progress on the 2 ticks of progress on the point. Now we have the Blizzard on there giving a lot of space, gives an opportunity for the defense to come back in. Evil's picked up Tay. That's a big key pickup there. Both supports now dead for the attackers here. So this is looking like the fight is swinging back in favor of the defense. Evil's still at large on this point on the Doomfist. Picks up another one to Phoenix. A lot of front-loaded damage there. Picks up Totsudo as well, and they finally manage to hold this one right on the brink of it. 85.5% will be the percentage taken.
Yeah, NG Phoenix kind of holding on by the skin of their teeth there on that defense. That was a very solid push, and that was all started off by the Blizzard, which came out from Phoenix Risen. Yeah, Phoenix Risen on that offense chucked that Blizzard, not aiming to capture people, but securing the point. The Blizzard was chucked onto the point, and because of that, everyone who was holding on the point had to back up. And because of that, the space was conceded. It allowed the tanks to push forward before they could make their move. That is just really smart play from Phoenix Risen. Like, a lot of people might think, oh, it didn't get kills, it didn't get value, but in that case, it absolutely did.
Yeah,
and
unironically, a zoning ult.
Yeah, that was a genuine zoning ult, you're right. And this defense is... Wait, if we actually get a look at the Echo here, Peronius, this might be really interesting. I'm unsure of how the Echo will play. I guess it can be pretty effective at diving a Widowmaker who's in the backline. But
Yeah,
there's also a Genji for that. I am unsure. I imagine that there's some set strategy here that my little small brain is not big enough to fully comprehend, but yeah.
I think it's very similar to running like a Pharah Widow comp, but it's a bit more reliable because Echo has a faster, more accurate weapon. So it's less burst, except Echo still has a lot of burst.
Yeah, that does make sense.
A bit more consistency, but it's definitely a long range pick comp. Ooh.
Yeah, and Evol at that high ground, Console Scrub was a bit too slow to get on top of him, and he used that time to burn the res, get the pick onto Totsudo.
Yeah, and Totsudo's still under a lot of pressure being forced back, but Jamaica now making their way back to the point, going for the Ana, will manage to get the closeout kill there, or Scythe will rather. Jamaica now picking up Disco. This is looking pretty good for a point A capture, but the fight is still anyone's fight here. That said, China going down there should mean that this one gets captured. Jamaica now back onto the high ground, looking to hunt down that D.Va. Gets the D-Mech there, going to jump on top of that one, and yeah, that will be a capture there. So good fight there. It's going to give a lot of time here to try and tear apart this point B defense.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
we see the
recontest
Reen
is
coming
through. Yeah, I guess 2 CPs.
Yeah.
They're already back up and alive. Gaining that extra few seconds. I'm not massively disappointed with it.
Chart to give over for it, but nonetheless,
Yeah, and this
they're going to
snowball.
be straight in for the snowball here and now. Jamaican's got the Death Blossom ready to go, but Phoenix Risen accidentally kills themselves on the Reinhardt shield there with the splashback damage from their weapons. So, an opportunity here. Death Blossom spin to win, but that was so big. Immediately getting CC'd into that one. Still, the kills overwhelmingly coming through in favor of the members of the defense here. So it looks like the Phoenix NG Phoenix forced back for now, but they've still got 5 minutes to crack this one open.
Yeah, and 5 minutes, and all they have to get is about a half of a tick. That snowball was so effective. And I don't know how much of that was because of that kind of haphazard recontest, but they got that 2 ticks of progress, and that is so crucial. Holy, that was a lot of damage from those sticky bombs there from Phoenix Risen, chucking about 3 players down to half health. And now the ultimates are online. This is where we might see a bit of value out of the duplicate from the Echo, a bit more of an understanding to why the Echo pick was made. I imagine that you'd want to probably duplicate the Winston, would you not? Or the Zarya and try and bubble someone as they engage, but probably the Winston.
I mean, yeah, main tanks are usually the good place to go. Scythe getting an early kill onto Totsuda is a good start for this roster, however. Phoenix looking to try and win it here and now. We have the duplicated Doomfist trying to make it happen. So far, not a lot coming out of it, but oh, there it is. Outplays gets picked up there. That's going to be all she wrote on that one. It's a very key kill and should be all she wrote for this particular attack.
Yeah, the ultimates were out there. They held on. Not much real progress was made, but actually there were some support ults invested in there. I think that would have been decent if it was an eco push. So if the plan from NG Phoenix there was to go in and not use ults and force ults out, then come in next fight stronger, that would have been good. But ults were used, so that was just kind of a half-hearted attack, and I think that they have the time to do something like an eco push. It is definitely something that they should consider. They also have time to make wholesale composition swaps still, because ultimates will have time to be built up and all that stuff. So, but they are engaging either way.
Yeah, Scythe getting in very aggressive. They're trying to hunt down the Ana. Hasn't managed to pick it up, and in the meantime, they lost Gamaken there. With Anne, a lot of people low. It means that once again we're going to see the members of NG Phoenix backing off. However, Isolation Protocol, they're not willing to let them back off. Going in for the chase. Shatter coming in from Disco, however, they've turned on him. Anna's there with the Biotic Grenade, going to keep that Reinhardt in the fight. It's going to allow them to sustain through that one. Meteor Strike coming in on top of Tay. It's a really late commit coming in from Evil here.
Yeah, if there's a swap coming through, that I hope there's a swap coming through, because that is just not a very intelligent use of that ultimate. But it looks like we're staying on the Doomfist. Just obviously saw something that we as the observers didn't see. So
yeah, I thought that more of the team was in fighting shape as well. Certainly, you want to get on the Ana, but might have tunnel visioned on it a bit more. Nonetheless, they have managed to make it around. Phoenix now looking to come onto the point with this grab. Commits straight into that one. Diva Bomb coming in to answer. It's a good bomb. Pulls out the sound barrier, but the sound barrier is there to keep everyone up. This is the fight they need. They've dropped so many people off this point. And that's it. That's going to be the point captured here. NG Phoenix pick up Anubis.
Yeah, 2-1 is the score. And as the scoreline suggests, this has been a very close affair between these two teams. We take a look at the game here. Scythe is getting so much value out of the Tesla cannon in this enclosed space, just connecting onto so many targets at once. Just getting those chances to clean up. But that fight, Pageto on the Lucio actually hit a really well-timed sound barrier to save their team from the self-destruct. The self-destruct from the defense came into that room on the right side from the defense's perspective. It was there. There were no real shields there to save them, but Pageto hit a really clean sound barrier, kept the team alive, and because of that, they're able to use that extra HP boost to just go through the rest of that point, and they ended up converting it into a win. And now we have the payload, which is a choice of Junkertown and Gibraltar, which the Widow narrative wasn't so strong on Anubis, but both of these are still very strong Widowmaker maps. So I think the Isolation Protocol, they seem to sort it out pretty well, playing into the Widow on point A of Anubis.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they can keep that up going into either of these maps.
Yeah, and I think with this one, think the trap is going to be maybe trying to convince Scythe that they can get away with playing Reinhardt when they really can't. Both of these maps have a lot of high ground. Gibraltar pretty much requires you to go into that sort of dive thing, right? Whereas maybe on Junkertown, you see more of your wall tanks. You see your Reinhardt, your Orisa, that sort of a front line there. So maybe you take it to Junkertown, try and convince Scythe that they can play the Reinhardt here, and then you just run rings around it with the Winston like you have been previously. But I don't know, like this really could go either way here. As we saw, Tatsudo was trading a lot more evenly with Evil in Anubis than they were back in Hollywood. So definitely it's no longer a case of if you let Evil... I mean, it's still, if you let Evil just play Widowmaker for free, they're going to do that. But Tatsudo now starting to build the confidence to be able to take those duels, win some of those duels, and set up the team for success. So we'll have to see how that one unfolds.
Yeah, we are going to Junkertown straight away. And I think that as much as it isn't a spectacular Reinhardt map, particularly first point of Junkertown, it isn't super good for Winston either. Because, yeah, there's lots of long sight lines, but they are so long that you cannot really reach the people that you're trying to dive in one leap. Or one, like, boost from a D.Va. You need more space to close, because there's just such a large distance between the two parties. So I think that traditionally here you'd see double sniper and then something like a Rissa or a Sigma.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Obviously, the state that those two characters are kind of in at the moment is suggesting that we might not see that, but maybe the necessity of the map geometry and how it forces these two teams to play, it might be brought out either way, despite the state of the character. And we are, Junkertown. It's also just a completely different game mode with their objective always moving. You kind of want a character, or at least someone that is comfortable anchoring on the cart.
Yeah.
And the composition that the side that Isolation Protocol with the Orisa and the Sigma, they are both very comfortable at just sitting on the cart, doing their own thing, and moving with the objective. As for something like a Winston or a D.Va, they want to be engaging more often than not. So that's when the strength of these compositions are really coming to fruition. And we see the side of NG Phoenix playing very aggro, very sneaky, being very, very quiet, is hoping to get the jump on the team, but there is a Hanzo, so I imagine the Sonic Arrow will come out and check that room. And Tay falls!
Evo immediately picking up Tay. The res is going to be invested there from China, but they've dropped Disco as well. So the res not going to actually allow this team to go yet, to wait for their main tank to respawn. And in the meanwhile, Scythe's just looking to get as much free ultimate as they can. Evo's picked up Tatsudo again. So once again, we're looking at the Evo show here today. It said Phoenix Risen looking to make something of it, getting aggressive on this Hanzo. It's going to get picked up out of position there. And they're just getting spawn camped here.
Yeah, it is definitely a spawn camp, and welcome to the Evo show. The entry price is apparently your head, by the way that this map has been going so far. Just have to sacrifice that, unfortunately. It is a bit of a shame. It is very nice having your head on, but now they're taking a bit of a different approach on the offense, setting up those shields on the high ground. If those Widowmakers have shields, they can play so much more carefully and just have so much more time to set up those shots, and the defense is finally torn apart. And I think that they approach that really well.
Yeah, a nice angle there from Tatsudo getting the opening kill. Phoenix Risen over onto the Hanzo, running the double sniper means that Evol's got a lot of different things to worry about. They managed to take down a lot of the team, forcing Evol back into a defensive position and then taking apart other people. Phoenix Risen still on the hunt here, not going to let up this pressure. They know the moment the pressure is off is when things start to happen. So they're looking to keep that one on. Good recon arrow there, and Tatsudo's going to pick up that hook. There's the dragons in over the top. Going to pick up two big dragon play from Phoenix Risen here. And that should see the members of ISO Protocol pushing forwards. They should be able to get this point off that one, I think.
Yeah, I think the big question now is, do the side of NG Phoenix want to try and defend this? Because if they don't, it looks like they're going to. But I don't know if I feel about that. And the slam just gets no value. Oh no, I lied.
Yeah, it was a decent shadow. Totsudo, however, has immediately gotten Scythe. Evil again picking up Chana, putting in the work here, and Jamaican just going ham on that. Going ham on that Reaper. They will manage to stop the cut up here, deny the capture, and that's going to buy so much time off this clock here.
Yeah, I was a
Does
bit
not
cautious.
defend.
Yeah, I was a little bit cautious of going for that last minute contest because if they lost that and it was just immediately all the high ground on second point, all that control would be given to the snipers of the offense and Isolation Protocol. But they made it work. Crisis is averted, and you can see Totsudo wrapping all the way around that Widow, playing so far away, really exploiting the big sightlines.
Yeah, Jamaican goes big with the Death Blossom. He's picked up Chana and Disco. It's a huge one. However, Evil loading and Jamaican now cleaned up as well. This fight is not necessarily over. Pogtato, however, does not manage to get the kill onto Totsudo. The old unhittable Lucio versus Widowmaker duel not working out in that one for Pogtato.
Yeah, and it looks like they're gonna go for the recontest again. Scythe is there, wanting to go for it, just get the touch with the assistance to Lucio. But there's just so many ultimates being thrown out.
Yeah, Grav in over the top, but Transcendence there to answer it. And now, however, Totsudo has picked up Evil. Jamaican has traded back on Phoenix as well. There goes Jamaican, is just back and forth on the kills here. However, loading still alive on the cart. A lot of energy now. Tay will pick that one up. That should be enough to win this fight here, but the Coalescence coming in from AAOL here could actually be the difference maker. They're losing a lot of people. Their console scrub manages to pick up two. Evil's back into the fight, picks up Disco, but Totsudo answers back, and that will be it. In overtime, the payload will get it across the line.
Yeah, even in compositions, Evil is fighting a bit of a losing battle. He has to worry about two people. He has to worry about Totsudo and Phoenix Risen, who are both very prominent threats to his life when he's holding angles on the Widowmaker. And on the side of either one of the snipers on Isolation Protocol, they only have to worry about one. And they've been worrying about it as much as they should be, getting those picks when they need. And they are now well into point B. Surprisingly enough, none of the offensive snipers are trying to take high ground. And look at the speedy rotate here from NG Phoenix.
Yeah, Dragon's in over the top. That's looking really good. Another couple of kills from Phoenix Risen there. However, Jamaican's still alive and at large there. Pogtato has also taken out Tay. Evil now picks up Chana. That's going to be a key kill in this fight. Supercharger invested here, but it might be too little too late. Hard to say. No, the Disco should be able to make it happen with some. Pogtato's actually managed to take down Disco there. The console scrub sort of alone trying to make this happen, but it's only a matter of time. Reinforcements arriving for the defense. Scythe, however, ends up feeding into that one. That might be a go button for the respawning attackers they get in, but as I say that, Evil picking up Chana once again, who has just not been allowed to play this game. Constantly being sent back to fall, and Transcendence being committed in from Tay. Phoenix Risen makes something of that immediately. Evil is down. This is the time to push.
Yeah, and the push is coming through. The Reaper ultimate is shut down. Big slam onto those two players. And now the rest of the team is just looking to utilize the Lucio's speed boost, push forward, and clean up. And the composition on the side of Isolation Protocol is so much better when the fight starts with them on the objective, where they want to be. As soon as they have to start the fight, investing resources to get to where they want to be, they are starting in a losing battle.
Phoenix is getting so much value from these Dragon Strikes. Scythe and Pogtato down once again. Evil's onto the Doomfist. However, Phoenix just taking up the duties of bullying Chana manages to remove the Mercy from the game. This is looking like another messy one, but maybe NG Phoenix able to close this one out. They're in last fight territory. They need to get this one across the line, but I think they've done it.
Yeah, the recontest is not going to come through here. Scythe is just, too far away to make that happen. And again, we have a bit of a swap. Totsudo going onto the Tracer. And I know this happened a while back, but particularly on this point, there's so many little hidey hole that the Tracer can go into to get all the way around behind the team, like you see Tasuda now, already well ahead of the rest of his team, behind the opposition, is being really annoying. The Tracer isn't necessarily going for picks. Tracer is just trying to absorb attention and just absorb those resources so the rest of his team has more freedom to move.
Tries to stick the pulse bomb on Evil on the Doomfist, doesn't manage to make it happen, but that's okay because it's a bit of a hit or miss ultimate anyways. Meanwhile, Evil again taking out Chana. Jamaican's going to get an opportunity to get in and get some licks in as well. This is looking like another good fight here from the members of NG Phoenix as they keep themselves in this one for now. Looking like a good position that they got on this third point. With only 20 seconds left to go, not a lot of time.
Yeah, no snipers are being played anymore, excluding the Dragon Strike, which is online for Phoenix Risen. He's got so much value out of them in these past two fights. Hopefully he can do it again, but he has to worry about so many other players. And the tanks, they need to actually touch the point. It doesn't look like anyone's going to do it. They are.
Yeah, they do manage to get the contest on there, keep it alive. Dragon Strike comes out, this time not actually picking up anything. Tay's just desperately trying to keep the team alive. It's a good anti on there, but this is a brawly fight. Evil picking up 3 in this fight on the Doomfist. It is just all Evil all the time here. And the rest of the members of Isolation Protocol coming in around there, surging around it. Now there's a grab on there just to catch the last few members. They do have a Wrecking Ball online, just rolling around trying to keep this one still going, but unfortunately, a lone Wrecking Ball has never been able to beat an entire team in in any game of Overwatch that I'm aware of. And so, sure enough, once again, it will be a successful hold here onto the third point.
Yeah, you really started to see the weakness of the comp from Isolation Protocol there when they weren't in possession of the objective. Because the objective is always moving further away from their spawn. So each time they have to travel further to set up onto the point, and then that's where the fight wants to be starting for them. But the way that NG Phoenix was holding on the defense, they're holding in front of the cart or at the cart. So resources had to be used there and not in kind of the situation that is obviously ideal for Isolation Protocol. So the resources were being used too early, so then they weren't available for the proper fight. So that's just really good knowledge of the win conditions of either side there, particularly on NG Phoenix, and they made good advantage of that. And now this defensive comp, I'm a fan of it. This is very old school, actually, with the Mercy and the Zenyatta. It's probably low heals, but there's so much damage amplification. There's the Orisa ultimate, there's the Mercy damage boost, there's a Discord orb. There's just so many options to catch people off guard with a little bit more damage. And we're looking at a bit of a... No, not the double dive main tank, actually. The Winston Zarya. The Zarya with the bubble is just aiming to give that Winston that little bit more protection, maybe a little bit more reliable as a defense matrix, as Evo goes for the jump shot and gets taken out very early.
Tasuda was waiting for that one. As you say, I do like this defensive comp because, as you said, it may not have the most healing on there, but when you're hiding behind 2 barriers like that, you don't need the most healing to win the fights. And definitely they're going to be winning the shield wars compared to the Reaper Winston comp. I said we do have, well, Disco picking up 2 there, cleaning up the low hit point members that are perhaps committing a little late into the fight here. Good first hold coming through from ISO Protocol. Yeah,
really good use of just the map. They got dove on, they backed up, placed down another shield, and then Scythe just really couldn't get out. He was kind of stuck in there because that's how Winston works. Able to clean up those picks. And now Tasuda on the respawn is going to come back with the high ground of that drop-off. But NG Phoenix are pushing very far forward with this pick advantage.
Yeah, Evil's gone ham. That's his 3rd kill this fight. One of them has been brought back with the res. However, the amount of space that they've bought, it's going to force the defense to have to regroup a little bit more before they commit in. They don't really want to go in there without their off tank as well. It means this payload getting uncomfortably close to the point. Dragons will go out just to buy some space, but they haven't been able to commit in. Are they really just gonna? Okay. They don't pick the fight after all that.
I understand not taking the fight because they want to ensure that their snipers keep the high ground on the second point. But investing the dragon there is just kind of sending mixed messages. And the snipers aren't even... Oh, they are holding the high ground, I guess. And they do manage to shut down. Okay, so it does make sense. Particularly for the... Now they drop onto the point. I am so confused, Peronius.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the plan here is, but it doesn't seem to be working particularly well. ISO Protocol is just taking apart... or rather being taken apart here by the members of NG Phoenix.
Sights was popped?
That's just going to be some free card progress. So
okay,
that's cool.
Yeah, there's wholesale swaps coming out though from the side of Isolation Protocol. That does make sense. I was getting a bit scared. Yeah. Okay, so there are swaps coming through. Tasudo kind of hesitating on the Tracer, going back to the comfort of the Widowmaker. And there's this, but now since they've made all those compositional changes, the ult advantage is just so much in favor of NG Phoenix.
Oh.
But it doesn't look like they're mad. They're clicking heads more.
Yeah, I mean, Scythe goes ham with the primal range, but unfortunately the rest of his team has died without him there to protect them. So it works out. I mean, that was looking to me very much like they might have just given up for free the potential for a final fight on A and all of B, but they managed to rally together. ISO Protocol putting up a defense now. They've still got over 3 minutes left on the clock, and they need to bleed away as much time as possible because they weren't able to fully finish this one.
They want to fault. Isolation Protocol want to fight against a team that popped both tank ults, and they didn't use any themselves. How on earth that happened, I really have no idea. I imagine that would almost be a mistake on the side of NG Phoenix, realistically. And now they're just going for an alternate angle, treating it like a Ryan comp, just rushing, speeding around, and now they're just calling this hallway. The Tesla cannons are going to do so much damage in here.
Yeah, Phoenix, Gamaken here, trying to get it done. Sandbarrow invested just to keep the push alive, but they're already losing members here, and it looks like Gamaken looking to get away there. Primal Rage Disco just going ham, and then remembers that that's Hellfire shotguns, and those really hurt. Backing away from that one. Might be an opportunity here, but no, the members of Phoenix still backing away, looking to regroup. They don't want to try and push with less people, especially with the reinforcements arriving here for the defense.
You're on the ball with that one. Reaper shotguns do indeed hurt. Much ouch. Band-aid required. But now they've been on this, the defense have been on this composition for enough time. They've had the opportunity to kind of build up some ultimates. And Gamaken going so aggro there for that Death Blossom just doesn't really come to fruition.
Yeah, didn't get more out of that one. Now the Sandbarrow being invested in here as well by the defense just to help clean this one up. It's a clean fight going for them. Evol still alive and at large, but is going to be able to get away. Still, they're running out of time here. 90 seconds left on the clock, and the payload's still stuck at the end of B. It is probably it'll be the second hardest place on the map after the end of third, but definitely a really solid place to rally a defense around.
Yeah, the cart and where the fight is going to be taking place is just so far away from both spawns. So any pick is very, very crucial. So this is where the Widowmakers want to get some value as the dive comes in onto Tay.
Super hard onto Tay. Drops the Primal, going to keep this chase going. Tay goes for the sleep, doesn't land it, and that's huge. And now Scythe immediately onto the Widowmaker as well. Totsudo down, that's huge plays from Scythe. And meanwhile, the rest of the team putting in work as well. That is 4 people down from the defense, make it that 5. That will be the point B capture they're looking for. Still a little bit of extra time being bled off the clock there, and at this point, every second makes a big difference. Not a lot of time left in play. Not a lot of distance left in play either.
No, they hardly even have to get around this kind of first corner after the straight. But again, the defense has there's just ultimates on both sides, really. But I'm looking mostly at the Graviton Surge from loading. Is it going to try and catch the Reaper? No, the Reaper pops ults on the low ground. Who is this Graviton Surge going to try and get?
Ooh, it's a good self-destruct picking up sides there. This actually might be everything they need to try and hold this one out. They've lost a couple of key members early on, but Disco's still alive. Looking to put the pressure on there. Has the Primal Rage. Needs to win out this fight here. The problem is this payload is really early in 3. It's not as close as you'd like for defender's advantage. Now Gamaken pulling out their own Death Blossom. Both supports have been picked up. Disco caught in the grab. This is looking like it's going to be it for NG Phoenix. They just need to get this one across the line, and they pick up this series here and now, and they're going to do it. NG Phoenix are going to pick up this map and this match.
Yeah, 3-1 is the score as GG's come out in the chat. After a bit of a shaky start on Busan, from the massive turnaround on Hollywood, Evil brings it back. And yeah, this is where our first series of the night comes to a close. And there was such a variety of compositions played and how they were being played as well. There was snipers, there was reapers, there was doomfists. It's just making me really excited, particularly for this next series tonight as well.
Yeah, I mean, in the end of the day, what a great series from these two teams. And just NG Phoenix playing that really well. I mean, Scythe getting so aggro on the Winston, so often getting a lot of damage in there. I mean, Evo we've been gushing about all night with those incredible Widowmaker plays. And Jamaican having quite a lot of fights where they get in really aggressive with that Reaper and pick up 2, 3, 4 players as well. So definitely wasn't all the Evo show. Definitely a lot of work being put in from the rest of the members as well. And NG Phoenix, as you say, after a bit of a shaky Basan, put on a decisive performance for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that series as a whole. A lot of the fights felt very scrappy still. Like, they were trying to kind of pull up a dive, but no one was really playing diveable characters. They were both just kind of jumping in and then seeing who could press left click harder. That's what it felt like. Obviously, it was not that. Obviously, there was a lot more communication going on. What I was the biggest fan of was the adaptations from both teams, particularly from Isolation Protocol and playing into the Widowmaker. They didn't just try the same thing over and over. They didn't just keep on kind of ramming their head into that wall. They were making good decisions. And they were making good adaptations, which are really important, and that's just really good signs of the kind of level of these teams. They can make those decisions on the fly, and they were mostly successful.
Yeah, I did like the adaptations we were seeing. Isolation Protocol really being forced to show their full hero pool there as they try to come up with answers. Speaking of coming up with answers, we'll be going on to a quick break, and then we'll be right back with our next game, which is Diamond Surfers against KE MegaKontrol. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back real soon. Welcome back, everyone. As we said, this is season, was it 11? I should have written that one down. Season 11 of AAOL. And we are here for our second match of the night. Diamond Surfers against KE MegaKontrol. And once again, I'm Peronius. Joining me is Nikki. And I believe you know a fair bit about what we can expect from this one.
Yeah, I had the absolute pleasure of casting MegaKontrol's Division 5 match last week. It was up against Ori and Scythe, and I think the big takeaway that I had from this team was their confidence playing with Mei compositions. Not bubbles on the Mei was always just such a kind of highlight player there. And I think that when this team gets to play the Mei, they are very regimented, they're very well structured, they know what they're doing. They've done their research, they have access to coaching, and they use it. By the looks of it, very, very well. So I'm hoping to see some more Mei play, because they just absolutely rocked it last week.
Yeah, definitely one to watch out there from Not Bubbles. We'll see if Diamond Surfers have done their own homework. They've had the opportunity at least to review their opponent from the last week, but whether or not they had the time and resources to actually do that and maybe adapt is another question. We'll see how that unfolds. We will, of course, be once again starting on Busan. That is our first map in all of these ones, and then we'll be going through the same map rotation. If you're just joining us now, didn't catch that first one, it will be Busan, followed by Arkenvold or Hollywood, followed by Volskaya or Anubis for our assault map, Junkertown or Gibraltar. Wow, yeah, I wrote a scribble for our escort map, and if we get all the way to the end there, it will be Nepal for our tiebreaker map. Our previous map in the series ended with a 3-1 victory for the members of NG Phoenix over their opponents in Isolation Protocol, but both of these teams won their matches last week, so it should be an impactful one, definitely, because, you know, one of these teams is going to get their first loss of the season here and now.
Yeah, they're both undefeated at the moment, which is a bit of a good kind of title to hold. But I think the other thing that I wanted to point out going into this map was the reputation that Diamond Surfers have among kind of scrim bubbles of a bit of a Chengdu. They don't like playing the meta as much. They kind of like doing their own thing. They like being comfortable, like playing their own comfort heroes, and usually when they're playing those, there isn't a lot of natural hero synergy, and then it just devolves very quickly. And that's when the Mei starts to kind of crumble as well. So maybe this just might be one of those matches where it's a rock, paper, scissors of how the teams plays, and just from the get-go, Diamond Surfers are one up. Or they could just not be very good at playing non-meta stuff, and they just do it anyway because it's what's fun. So there's two very different ways that you could predict this series to kind of unfold, but I think either way it should be a pretty thrilling match. So on MegaKontrol, we're starting off with Kana Kamui, Ricky Maru, Not Bubbles, Shilo, Squidgy, and Jai McFlurry. And then on Diamond Surfers we have Brock, Archimedes, Aero, Cosmo, Alex, Brooke, and Moby. So it's pretty solid lineup, and as I said, I cast MegaKontrol last week. I'm very excited. This team has high aspirations for where they want to go in the future, and I'm just really excited to see some more good Overwatch.
Yeah, excellent. We're just waiting on confirmation before we get into this game. And when it comes to those sort of teams that don't play like the most meta comps, there definitely is room for success in it. I'm just thinking back to some previous seasons of Open Division, and a lot of the time we have seen a team that runs their own sort of comfort heroes going quite deep into the playoff bracket of that, just because they play them at such a high skill level that it can be really hard for other teams to deal with it. It's not what people have been practicing to go against. When you can play stuff at a high level and it's not what everyone else is expecting, you're able to practice against what everyone's playing, and they're not able to practice against you. It can be a huge edge in those sorts of matchups. That said, those teams, I've often seen them go down in about the semifinals or quarterfinals, because eventually you just start running into teams that are really good at playing what's meta. And I mean, what's meta is meta for a reason.
Yeah, its potential, from what you described, is very Washington Justice kind of playoffs kind of vibes. And I think that that's a pretty apt way to describe it. They all found heroes that they're comfortable on. They just kind of happen to be very meta. But another comparison is someone like Frogger in Contenders at the moment, who's just kind of doing his own thing, just playing that Lucio, and is somehow getting wins in the very competitive and serious state of Australian Contenders. And interestingly enough, we are not running the Mei on Mecha Base, which for me is very, very surprising. I thought this would be the best Mei map in Busan, but we're instead opting for a kind of Sombra Reaper comp, which also they had a lot of success on. And Sombra's on both sides, essentially a mirror, and this is going to be a tank battle.
Yeah, Not Bubbles with the Reaper shotguns coming in over the top now, committing into that one. Brock's got the early pickup onto Rikimaru, so a good start here coming through from the members of Diamond Surfers. And we actually see MegaKontrol, they're just backing off from this one. They know they've already lost this fight, don't want to give over any extra ult charge. I like that. I like that disciplined play.
Yeah, this is a very disciplined team. They know what they're doing, despite not being around for very long and being only in their second AAOL match. They are very, very confident in how they play, but Not Bubbles is just falling a little bit early.
Yeah, pick up from Aero there, but they trade back onto Brock. Picking up the Zarya might be enough to make the go button happen, especially with this Reaper getting very low there as well. Kanaka Mai getting taken out by Aero. Rikimaru is still alive and at large. Gup manages to jump on top of Brooks Ash. That will Anna, sorry, not Ash, but get traded out there. Aero just getting so much killing blows in there. Is what you want from your Sombra, and eventually gets taken out by the Fire Strike. And so we will see Diamond Surfers continue to keep hold at this point.
Yeah, it's a pretty... This fight is going to be... just really show which composition is superior, because EMPs are up on both sides. Both sides have solid win conditions, but it's just going to be who executes better and who gets the most value out of what they have. Rikimaru has finally made it through the choke relatively unscathed, so now he's in a better position than ever to set up a good dive. 6-man EMP.
6-man EMP, and the follow-through is there. It is brutal as Giant McQuarrie hoses everyone down with the Coalescence. It is just clean-up territory now.
Yeah, that fight comes to a close. Squidgy cleaning up the last two supports. And the side of MegaKontrol, they were very disciplined. All they used was the EMP and the Coalescence, two ultimates that charged very quickly. But Diamond Surfers didn't use any ultimates at all. They got EMP'd before they could pop any, and they had the knowledge and the discipline to not pop any of their own. So this fight, this is going to get their own. Squidgy cannot get hit by this EMP, so he can provide the sound barrier to keep his team alive in the aftermath of the EMP.
Yeah, Aero not dropping the EMP on immediately on Decoy, gets the hack onto the Diva, and gets the DMAC in there as well. Aero really holding on to this one, not committing the EMP. Now there's the Death Blossom over the top, gets hacked out of it, but not before he's taken down Moby. Now the EMP comes in late, trying to bring it in after the sound barrier, but it might be a little too late, because really no one left to capitalize on it.
Man, Not Bubbles on the Reaper there really came in clutch. That was looking like a winning fight for the side of Diamond Surfers. Squidgy was all cooped up at the bottom, well away from all this team, so it was essentially a 5v6. And the Squidgy eventually just got sick of being cooped up, popped that sound barrier, it immediately got cancelled out by the EMP. But Not Bubbles on the Reaper, just kind of securing that fight. I think that's a very missed opportunity there from Diamond Surfers. The early bomb comes through, but Crisis is averted.
Yeah, they're looking to get into the fight now. Cosmo Alex going ham with those Hellfire shotguns, has the Death Blossom ready to go, pulls it out there, spin to win once again, picks up 3 with that, and a lot of work on that DMAC as well. That will be the fight secured. Point flipping over once more. We're heading to what's probably last fight territory here.
Archimedes, what was that? It's charging all along the catwalk at the top, going off the top rope, immediately just hitting the slam from behind the team. Oh, there's a bit of a rotate coming through actually. But Aero, both teams are coming out with EMPs again. Shiloh has his first, he needs to get value out of it.
Gets 2 with it, but that's Archimedes immediately off the table, and more importantly, Aero not able to commit their own EMP due to the hack. Actually dies with the EMP. That could be absolutely huge here, because now it's just a matter of cleaning up before these members can get back to the fight. MegaKontrol looking really good to close this one out.
Yeah, this is last fight territory, but with Moby on the Lucio, she will be able to spoon the rest of her team in, so there hopefully should be at least some remnants of a final fight. But perhaps I'm speaking too soon. The EMP comes out, catches 6. That's a massive EMP! They need to kill Squidgy before he pops sound barrier.
Yeah, unfortunately the sound barrier is able to be committed in there. Not Bubbles pulls out the Death Blossom as well, and it is just clean up here. MegaKontrol, they were really, yeah, Diamond Surfers weren't able to actually get a proper fight there because of how little time they had. It was sort of a weird 3v6 situation with people still trying to strew onto the point. And even though the EMP was huge, it just wasn't the damage there to follow through on it. So really nicely played here so far from the members of MegaKontrol.
Yeah, it was really well done. I'm still a little bit surprised that they weren't playing the Mei, because from a spectator's perspective, the Mei is when they were looking their best. But to be fair, they have cleaned up their dive. And last week when they played this comp on this stage of Busan, they didn't go for an engage straight away. They actually wrapped all the way around, just huddled into Lucio speed boost. And it looks like they're doing it again. They huddled all the way around, almost into the back alley of the defense. And this is a bit of a strategy. It just puts the defenders off. But Archimedes is not having it. Immediately just going on gatekeeper duties. And again, now we are at a dive v dive mirror. But the big difference is going to be Arrow on the Widowmaker as that long range threat. But he is being challenged very, very early. The peel is still there.
Yeah, and in the end though, the tanks commit onto the tanks. Arrow gets free, Not Bubbles gets removed. Squidgy's there to trade up the kill, but Rikimara's gone down in the meanwhile, and Archimedes just looking to get the damage in there. Will chase down the kill on Squidgy as well. So that is going to be a fight one from the Garmin Surfers, and they're going to get that early point control progress here and now.
Yeah, it was relatively late point flip though, so it isn't end of the world by any means for MegaKontrol. They're looking to come around left side again to stay out of line of sight of that Widowmaker for as long as they can, because that is just really important.
Ends up being the go button for that push as they're trying to get down Archimedes. Don't manage to quite get him there. He's going to get away, get the healing. Meanwhile, Arrow has picked up John McFlurry. That's a big pickup, and Twidgy's gone down as well. That's both supports gone. Diamond Surfer's in a great position to win this fight.
Yeah, and they won it only using the Coalescence. That is so big ultimate economy-wise, because now they need to build up that sound barrier to protect that EMP. But other than that, they have the Blade up, they have Sights, they have both tank ultimates. This next fight is going to be ultimate heavy on the engage, and then the follow-up in the in the middle of the fight from the tanks on MegaKontrol going to be very massive. So this fight's going to be heavy.
Yeah, Archimedes going down early, and then the EMP coming in is really rough here for the members of MegaKontrol. From the members of Diamond Surfers, rather. MegaKontrol looking super good here. They clean that one up. Only needed the one ult to make it happen, so that's really good for them there. 62% on the clock for Diamond Surfers, so not out of the woods yet.
Now both teams just having incredibly clean and just well thought out ultimate economy. They're only ever using one or two at a time, which means that when they're in a holding position like they are now, they can try and maximize that to its full potential. But now there are, again, just so many ultimates online, as so many of these fights will be. Sound barrier is very, very early from the side of Moby.
Yeah, Sound barrier comes in early. Arrow's picked up Squidgy over the top. That's pretty good. Cosmo Alex still holding onto this blade. Actually goes down with the blade, gets hosed off by John McFlurry. So this fight not over yet, but a lot of early advantage here for Diamond Surfers, looking to take back control at this point. The D-Mech onto the Diva means that's probably what's going to happen here. They're just trying to clean up these last few remnants who are buying so much time and progress here. Now we have the reinforcements coming in. They're just going to keep bleeding back onto this point. Maybe an opportunity to turn it around here.
Yeah, Colto Alex has just been holding onto this Dragon Blade for so long, hasn't seen fit to use it. I imagine just a little bit worried about the sound barrier from Squidgy, who is still holding on to that. I imagine as soon as that's out... Yeah, it's still going!
Still in control of MegaKontrol, but Diamond Surfers will finally get that one reflipped. And I mean, it is a bit hard with the Naked Blade, right? Without any
Nano boost.
add any nano boost or anything else to boost it going, it is definitely risky. And on top of that, you know, Squidgy has the EMP, but I think you have to commit it eventually.
Yeah, you can't hold on to it. It's no good if you're just holding on to it. EMP comes out, catches 3, and now MegaKontrol is taking control of the point, living up to their namesake. Not Bubbles is just clearing the area, and that point flip comes through. It is another fight territory, but Brook goes in a little bit late and gets staggered off. I stole your entire fight there. I'm sorry, mate.
That's alright. It wasn't much of one, to be perfectly honest. And,
yeah, it was just very, very dominant from the side of MegaKontrol. But there is another fight, and still, it's just a bit of a Mexican standoff between Cosmo, Alex, and Squidgy. Neither of them want to pop their ult before the other. And at the end of the day, this is a battle that Squidgy is winning.
Yeah, the Blade finally committed, immediately answered by the sound barrier. That said, Not Bubbles does get picked up by the tail end of the braid. Cosmo Alex traded out, though. The 1-for-1 trade there. Bit of extra damage around the spot as well. Self-destruct being invested into this one, so it could still go either way. But Rikimaru going down is a big pickup when you lose your main tank like that. Another self-destruct being thrown in, this one from the other side. However, it is just angry monkeys all over this point trying to make something happen. Diamond Flurry under a lot of pressure from a flanking arrow, and now the kills start coming through. Massive pickups for Diamond Surfers. Shiro's still at large, but they're one of the only people left alive here. And with Nut Bubbles going down, that is going to be all she wrote here. You have a bit of a late recontest coming in. No, Doomfist says no, you don't even get to contest this point. And with that, that will be the scores tied up here in Busan.
That was so good from both the Diva and the Doomfist from Diamond Surfers, using their CC abilities to ensure that Rikimaru was not able to get a point touch there and start to trigger that overtime, leaving no room for even hesitation of who was going to take that round. As he said, even it up 1-1. And I'm not expecting any different on this round of Busan. MegaKontrol is just teasing again this Sombra Reaper. Hardly even a tease, it's pretty well expected. So Archimedes back onto the Reinhardt. Okay, this is an interesting comp. So I think Brock is going to have a bit of an interesting time on the Zarya here, because he can potentially Zarya bubble the Reinhardt or the Genji when either of them want to engage. So however these are used is going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah, immediately going in deep with that Reinhardt, displacing a lot of people, but in the end, not able to stick the landing. Not Bubbles fighting back hard, cleans up the tank line. Guy McFlurry picking up some as well. Cosmo Alex will pick up the only kill for the side of Diamond Surfers, but it's going to be a decisive opening here for MegaKontrol.
Yeah, but seeing the composition, Shiloh, despite winning that fight, runs back to Swarm and swaps over to the Doomfist. I think that the Doomfist, it can penetrate through that Ryan shield, I guess, but I'm unsure of fully what's going on, as Arrow does actually fall fairly early.
Yeah, Arrow down early is not a great sign for the Diamond Surfers trying to get in on this one. And I think it comes down to if they're going to be pushing through this building with the Reinhardt, it's a lot of playground for the Doomfist, right? That's it. I mean, look at this. Shiloh just going super deep on this one. Archimedes again taken out. A bit of a back cap going on, but they're going to get caught on the retreat. Cosmo Alex barely making it out with their life. Arrow's picked up Shiloh in the meantime, though. That could be a good go button here for the Diamond Surfers.
Yeah, they have the blade, but again, Squidgy is at the sound barrier, so it's going to be another Mexican standoff, but it won't be half as long this time.
Yeah, I think it's the right play. You need to get that blade out. You can't hold it for half a match, hoping that someone else will get the sound barrier out. Archimedes has taken down Not Bubbles in the midst of this fight, but Diamond Surfers up in this one. That's a huge bomb though. Katakamai picking up 3. That's going to swing things back completely. MegaKontrol going to hold on to this one. And oh, this is brutal. Rikimaru just chasing down that Mora. Doesn't quite get the kill, gets out of there with his life. But, oh, never mind. Rikimaru taken down by Arrow. Really nice.
I think that the blade... Sorry, the blade from Cosmo Alex there was really important because it baited out the sound barrier. So now Brock has a free grab on Surge, just having to avoid the defense matrix, who's now not even there at all. So that was, I think that blade, although it didn't get any kills, held a lot of value.
Yeah, oh, that could be big for Bubbles. This could win the fight back. They need to win the fight. There's the sound barrier in it very late. Don't have to shout the grab, however, it's very late. There's no one there to follow up on it. And MegaKontrol, they're going to get away with that one. They will run away with the sun.
I don't know if that was just me, but that didn't feel like 100-0. That felt a lot closer than the kind of percentage would suggest. I'm so glad we get to get another look at this Diva Bomb from Kana Kamui. It's so good. It's the Primal Raging Winston just swinging those big fists, just displacing that shield, making it impossible to really position the team or the shield at all, and just cleans up. Really good coordination from the tanks there. Now MegaKontrol keeping both their undefeated map streak alive and their hopes of staying undefeated in AAOL alive. So that was it was again a pretty close Busan, but it was still relatively in their favor.
Yeah, look, they played it well, and yeah, that last map, as you said, it felt a lot more back and forth than the scoreline actually indicated when the chips were down, because as close as they got to winning a number of those fights, Diamond Surf has never quite managed to properly win a fight there. Looks like we'll be heading over to Eichenwald for our next map, so
Okay.
What can we expect from this one?
So I actually took some notes on Eichenwald because I was rewatching the match recently. So yeah, it was a lot of May play from Not Bubbles, which we didn't actually get to see on Busan, but I'm hoping that we get to see it this time around, because it was really, honestly, a joy to behold, us utilizing the smallest little features of the map to create a choke. And it was just really good team play. And they've actually taken a page out of a few of the professionals' books. The immediate comparison I draw is to how San Francisco Shock play King's Row when they sub in super on the Reinhardt. They just play super aggressive with a Reinhardt Lucio. It's very reminiscent of this kind of style that MegaKontrol are trying to pull up. But it's gonna be a different story. Looking like the Roadhogs coming out on the... No, I lied. Okay, so it's Winston. I keep on getting stitched up by these people. Man, just pick the one hero so I can talk. Flipping heck. I'm going to throw a little tanty over here. But they aren't even running the May. Oh, I might just leave the call. Whatever I do, they're just stitching me up. But they're just going to be playing the same comp against... They're almost... As much as the Winston and the Diva was just dive tanks, they're playing it much like a Rush, because they can't really play fast pace with a Reaper and a Sombra. They have to wait out that hack or wait for the Reaper to get to the background before they can kind of engage. So it's going to be a little bit hectic with the Ashe on the field from Arrow, just something a little bit different into the mix.
Yeah, Rikimaru going in aggressively on that Winston, but taking a lot of damage early on. The CC getting invested there as well. Kanakamai not able to follow through due to that sleep dart disrupting their flight. So Arrow off to a good start, picked up Chillo. Now we have Archimedes going ham in the room. Good boot back, going to prevent that one from landing, and Rikimaru is there to protect the team. Great hold there. Really good play from Twidgy, who just gets picked up by Brook, but I think Diamond Surfers are going to be going back to spawn. That's a fight one Coalescence.
Yeah, very quick charge, probably around 40 seconds of that Coalescence charge from Jai McFlurry. Very talented support player. Honestly, a little bit of a shame to see him stuck on the Moira, not on something like an Ana where he can really show off his aim. But the Nanoblade is up very early from Cosmo, Alex, and Brook, and the Squidgy is not quite at that sound barrier. They have the small window, and they take it.
Yeah, absolutely take it with the Nanoblade coming straight into that. Good hack onto it that's going to prevent any more dash resets, but the damage has kind of already been done. Cosmo will get picked out, but it's only a matter of time until they chase down Arrow here. Arrow actually going to take themselves out on their own dynamite accidentally, and with that, the point is going to be overwhelmingly overwhelmed, and Diamond Surf is going to keep this one rolling. Still a bit of a brawl going on in the courtyard there, as the tanks trying to make something happen, but it's pretty hard to catch the dive tanks when you're on Ryan Zaya.
Nah, if you take a look at the position on the dive and the defense, they're just holding up close. They're probably going to drop down. I'm surprised that they aren't actually trying to take control of the choke a bit more, but they're just waiting to get the drop on their opponents, quite literally. Because not having to use your mobility to engage is so important on a dive.
Yeah, you can just drop down onto that tank. Archimedes looking for a target, ends up charging into a wall, not able to get it there. But oh, it's a big shatter coming through. Stand barrier there to answer it, keep everyone up and healthy. Bob's on the field, but not getting a lot done there. I think it was a hack onto Bob as well. But
that was a really nice slam from Archimedes, actually. It baited out the sound barrier from Squidgy to keep the team alive. But there's EMP bomb. The EMP was just a little bit late on the shield of Archimedes. Moby had the sound barrier as well. But Brock still has this Graviton Surge, so if they want to kind of take this fight, it is definitely turnable, as they just demolish Not Bubbles.
yeah, not a great time to be Not Bubbles there, but they're still, I think, slowly seeing if Brock throws in the grab and doesn't really get anything for it though, but the defense slowly getting ground back. His Reinhardt composition just coming straight up Main Street.
Nice.
Now they're getting into the tighter parts of the map where that Reinhardt hammer is really hard to avoid. And oh, that's Not Bubbles coming in over the top. Didn't get the killing blow on any of those, but got a lot of damage in there. And Dynamo McFlurry is able to finish up a couple of them. Rikimaru there as well. They finally get back control of that payload before it gets onto the bridge proper. So close one, but really bailed out there by that Death Blossom, even if it didn't fill up the kill feed.
Yeah, that fight was so I don't want to say confusing so much, but it was a really interesting approach from the side of Diamond Surfers, because they had so many people going from so different angles. The Ryan was on one side, the McCree was on complete another. They were just trying to create a crossfire, and it just wasn't quite working out. But now, utilizing the Lucio speed boost to take the high ground first, because now that they control this high ground, Cosmo Alex can just sit up here and do whatever he wants.
Yeah, Cosmo Alex, however, forced to back off a little by Bubbles, just going back in again under cover of that sound barrier, trying to get the damage in there. And does manage to, with the help of Squidgy, chase down their counterpart in Aero, still going ham, trying to stop these tanks from escaping. That will be the D-Mech onto the Diva. Ooh, almost gets picked up in a pin by the Reinhardt, but not quite. And going to get away with that one. A lot of damage done. Not Bubbles getting very close to another Death Blossom. Yeah,
this time around, Shiloh is a lot further ahead on the EMP charge than Moby is on the sound barrier. Shiloh has a pretty significant window to try and land his EMP here in this fight. So he can just take his time with it, and it comes out, catches 4.
Yeah, good EMP out. Hits all 6 members, was it? And there's the Death Blossom in, trying to clean up on that. Both supports down from Aero. Looking super good here for the Diamond Surfers. They should be able to get this payload back moving. It's probably time for one last defense here, but it's pretty rough to push out of these chokes.
That was actually so neat from Aero in that fight. The bomb came up from Kanakamui, and he just kind of evaded into cover, but the cover was behind the team, and they just kind of forgot about him. And then he popped out and just got like a clean 2-man on the Death Blossom with a big slam!
Good shatter. Yeah, big shatter coming through there. Not Bubbles now going in with the Death Blossom. Not a lot done with it though. The Defense Matrix was there to eat a lot of that one. Even as I say that though, Not Bubbles coming back into the fight, picks up Aero. Lost a lot of people, however. MegaKontrol running out of members to try and sustain this defense. If their spawn is quite close, but they're not getting the kills they need to be able to keep the fight alive. It's only a matter of time until they finally get closed out of this one. And that is exactly what's going to happen here.
This McCree pick from Cosmo Alex is growing and growing on me. Particularly on that second point, he had so many opportunities to flank, and he just really capitalized on them. But the McCree, in nature, just completely shuts down a Sombra and a Reaper. It makes them play so much more passive, and because of that, they cannot look for the normal opportunities that they want to look for, and it just prompts a swap over to the Reinhardt from Rikimaru. That makes a lot more sense. There's a lot of corners that you can play around with the Reinhardt shield. You can just engage very quickly into small space.
Oh, and Kanakami goes for the chase, manages to get Cosmo Alex out, but gonna get D-Mech'd in return as Brock tries to peel for the McCree, even if they couldn't get there in time. Till the damage is done, this will be the retreat from the Diamond Surfers.
Yeah, that fight was very well taken by MegaKontrol. but it was so frantic. And look, they're already right back to the side of Diamond Surfers. They're already right back looking for the second fight. Shillo just forced to retreat, tail in between his legs, and now Archimedes has a slam online. A lot of corners he can manipulate. He can manipulate the cart to just try and land this onto many members.
Arrow in over the top. Oh, he gets the EMP'd out of it, but he gets the kill onto Shillo. And Cosmo Alex is there with the Deadeye as well. It's looking really good for Diamond Surfers to pick up their third kill of the fight as well. Arrow on the hunt in the backline for something more, but meanwhile Brock in the front just burning people down with the help of Brook. Payload about to cross the line. They've got the self-destruct to zone people away from this payload as well. There's the self-destruct coming out from Brock as well. But oh, the shatter from Rikimaru catches Cosmo Alex, and Not Bubbles pulls out the Death Blossom. I think they've just managed to turn that one back.
Man, I have no idea how they clutched that one out. Rikimaru came through with the big slam, and this is game over. There's not going to be a recontest here. The stagger kills come through. Have I spoken too soon? No, I haven't. There were ultimates online. Never fret. MegaKontrol is preventing that full capture. But for MegaKontrol to kind of take the W here, they're going to have to essentially just cap Eichenwald, which is by no means an easy feat. Still, it's still kind of dwelling in my head how comfortable and how successful they were on the May last week. And they just aren't bringing it out. I understand that the professional meta, which they obviously take influence from, is leaning very heavily towards the best teams being able to pull off this kind of Winston, Diva, Sombra, Rush, Dive, variant hybrid thing. So I understand that they're probably trying to do that as much as they can, but I think Cosmo Alex has a pretty decent answer for that on the McCree. And we're getting potentially a bit of something different on the defense here. I don't want to speak too soon, because knowing these players, they're just going to pick something and then bully me and then switch. Then all my points were useless. But they're running... Okay, they've moved towards the point. I'm going to start talking. They're running double snipers with the Mercy. So this is not a bad look by any means, but because there's a Mercy, Brook on the Ana is going to be very, very vulnerable. And if you look at the composition from the side of MegaKontrol, there's a Winston, there's a Diva, there's a Doomfist, there's even a Lucio, because Squidgy is a very mechanically gifted Lucio player. So I think Brook is going to have a really tough time just kind of bending for herself. But if they hold this, if the snipers hold the choke well enough and the Reinhardt holds the choke well enough, they're going to get a decent amount of value. And MegaKontrol, surprise, surprise, they're running their composition. No real changes. They're comfortable. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly, and we see Era keeping an eye out. They're already looking for the Sombra. They know she's going to be around somewhere. So I do like that that's the kind of thing. Rikimaru taking a lot of damage coming through that choke here now. Kanakamai putting the pressure on there, but they can't chase down in that corridor. So a lot of damage already being delivered by the defense onto the attackers here. They need to take a moment to pop up. Guy McFlurry, the pressure's still on. Now a good biotic grenade, that is so big. And we see that not quite managing it. Cosmo Alex actually gone down. Brook about to go down as well, but the kill is there. Rikimaru just trying to get it done, but the Reinhardt just drops back into that room. It's so hard to take the fight into there. I love what we're seeing here from the Diamond Surfers as they just flex back and then reassert themselves onto the point. In the end, though, it may not be enough. Shilo going ham on this Sombra, trying to clean up the tail end of the fight. Cosmo Alex still alive. The res on Archimedes is big, but they've lost the Mercy for it as well. Rikimaru is still alive and at large, and they're just going to clean up that Reinhardt in the end, just giving over a huge amount of ultimate charge by rezzing that main tank.
That timing of the engage for MegaKontrol was really... It was interesting, but it was also like, it was a good interesting. It was smart. Like, they took the nade. Both their tanks were anti-naded, which is not good by any means. But because those nades landed, that was communicated. The Ryan of Archimedes and the rest of the team started to push forward, and then they used that to kind of dive on the mini rotation as they were engaging. It was really smart, as the Winston was so far forward there, actually, all the way in Castle. Jai McFlurry just kind of caught out of position. But there are so many ultimates online for both of these teams. This next fight is going to be very, very hectic, and I do not envy you at all having to try and keep up with it.
It's alright. At the time being, I got a bit of a breather before we get into it, thanks to certain someone being sent back to spawn courtesy of Aero. Rikimaru also going to get sent back. The EMP's been committed, but they've already lost their main tank. Now Bob's in on the field. Not Bubble's trying to find someone to drop this Death Blossom on. It's actually just going to shove the shotguns there straight into... Oh no, through the wall! The Dragon Strike taking out Not Bubbles. Cosmo Alex still at large on that Hanzo. And that is going to be the Diamond Surfers holding on in this one.
Yeah, I think that was mostly thanks to Aero. Excuse me, his position up on the high ground was just really, really good. It allowed him to just deploy that Bob onto the point. That was the contest. The rest of the team could do whatever they want, knowing that the cart was in safety. And Aero just being able to play this high ground, rain in the damage from above. And again, it isn't just last match. Again, the snipers just taking control of the high ground, proving to be so detrimental. And I'm actually a big fan of the composition that Diamond Surfers are running. It's a double sniper, but I've never thought of running double sniper on this map, when in reality I should have. There's so much high ground to exploit, there's so many different crossfires that you can create so easily, and the next fight's out.
Yeah, Grav has been invested, and we have the Beyblade in over the top as well. Not Bubbles not getting anything from that one yet. Now just trying to chase a couple of people around, but the feel and the movement abilities are right there. Not Bubbles actually getting caught out, taken out by Bob. Self-destruct from Kanakamai has picked up the Mercy, but Bob's cleaned up too, and I think Diamond Surfers might be able to get this one through.
Archimedes!
Oh, no.
I don't know if you caught that. He jumped off the top rope and just immediately just pushed into the well. Rikimaru was having absolutely none of it, and Archimedes is just probably a little bit out of spite swapping to the Winston, which makes sense. They're going for a double sniper mirror. They're playing essentially a mirror cops, but with perhaps maybe stronger snipers. So I think that this next fight, even at an ultimate deficit, I think it's still pretty winnable for the side of MegaKontrol.
Oh, Squidgy going down super early there is a great start for MegaKontrol. Now Rikimaru looking to make something happen, sort of caught in the middle there, trying to chase it down a target. Unfortunately, they've lost Not Bubbles. Cosmo Alex is going ham on this Hanzo, picks up a double. John McFlurry being down as a key piece off the table. Aero picks up Shiloh as well. The Diamond Surfers are going to keep in control on this one. 90 seconds left on the clock, and yeah, Cosmo Alex with this angle is actually lobbing arrows into spawn there with the slight arrow drop that Hanzo has. Very dangerous threat, but they've all managed to get out from under that one.
Yeah, that fight had more headshots than photo day at school. There's so many snipers landing those shots when they're needed. And look at the rotation through Castle. That is so smart. If they're indoors, the snipers won't be able to see them.
A huge opening pickup from Rikimaru, taking down Moby on the Mercy. However, there's a trade back. Shiloh picks up Brook. This is still anyone's fight. But Alex picks up Not Bubbles. So, again, slight advantage here for the members of Diamond. But well, the Grav are committed in there, not much coming from it, and Cosmo Alex is going to take Shiloh's head off with those Sonic arrows, or the Storm arrows rather. Rikimaru is still alive and at large, but Cosmo Alex has been ignored for so long, finally gets taken out there, and Moby's back into the fight, gets the res on the Brock. This is what Diamond Surfers need to try and close this one out. And sure enough, 30 seconds left. A late kill from Shiloh onto Aero may not be enough here. There's not a lot of time, and there's still people getting taken out. Shiloh gets chased down by Archimedes.
Yeah, the Bob from Aero came out onto point, and it was contesting cart. Squidgy very smartly booped it away, but it was still in a sight line. And that small amount of time that had to be invested into dealing with the Bob, Diamond Surfers really capitalized on that. The last second touch coming through from Squidgy. There's a nano boost online, probably going to go to the Winston.
Yeah, Not Bubbles getting onto the cart, trying to make it happen. Oh, that is huge!
Oh, no.
Well, Aero managed to get the kill on Rikimaru, but that's a huge bomb over the top. Kanakamai, and the kill feed is all blue here and now. MegaKontrol needed this so badly. It's not over yet. There's going to be an opportunity to recontest.
That was such a clutch play from Aero on the Ash, sacrificing his own life with the coach gun. Brought out the primal rage out of Rikimaru as well, but it just wasn't enough. The rest of the team came to be very strong. Now it's just a spin to win on the point as this overtime fight is going on.
Yeah, huge fight going on there. Bit of a chaos all over the place. Giant McFlurry is over onto the Ana, but is getting harassed there by Tracer. Drops the bio grenade, not able to get the finisher on. Aero eventually finally getting the fight win onto Giant McFlurry, but in the meantime, so much damage being done by the rest of the team because it took so long to remove that Ana. And that is going to be a fight win coming through here in favor of MegaKontrol. We've got not a lot of time to try and get through here. They got like maybe 2 attempts at most.
Okay, Peronis, let's play a quick game. Snipers did well. What am I going to talk about? Yes, you're right, high ground. Shilo was just playing so well, so far back, just completely uncontested on that bridge, having so many sightlines onto the point, just being able to do whatever he wants. But again, the panic swaps onto the Wrecking Ball for that last fight from Ricky Murray means that he has no Reinhardt Shadow close.
Yeah, and the Death Blossom coming in from Not Bubbles is absolutely huge. MegaKontrol looking to try and get this one all the way through. We're in desperation territory for the defense. Cosmo Alex in a lot of trouble, eventually gets chased down. They're even going to be able to get back on. They do get the recontest, but it's barely there. They're back on the speed heroes. They need to get some kills badly, and it's so far not happening. Bastion out. Arrow on the Bastion, just mowing down here, trying to make something happen. Still not able to get the kills. Blade comes out. Cosmo Alex finally picks up Shilo, but gets taken out by Giant McFlurry. It's not over yet, but it's looking so close here. Ricky Murray just swinging with that hammer. Everyone has to come to him to recontest this cart, and he is just picking up damage. The Shatter is down, knocks a bunch of people onto the floor, and it's just swinging like ham. They should be able to close this one out. The respawns are not getting the kills they need, and that will be MegaKontrol finally getting it across the line.
Yeah, that map was pretty much confirmed to MegaKontrol for a long time before that fight actually finished. The side of Diamond Surfers were just kind of staggering one by one onto the point, and it just wasn't going their way. It was going to require some kind of miracle to turn that around. As we see in the play of the game here, Not Bubbles just really capitalizing on the slam from Ricky Murray. If everyone's on the ground, they're not going to be shooting him while he's ulting. Really nice play there all around. MegaKontrol go up 2-0 in the series. Ever get a feeling of deja vu? This is exactly what happened last week. And it is back to Diamond Surfers for the pick. So it is a toss-up between Volskaya and Anubis. And that's going to be another interesting choice, because the snipers have been shown, the double sniper comp has been bought out by both sides. So that would hint at both teams maybe opting in for a Volskaya. But it's still so indecisive, because it is known that Diamond Surfers is a bit of a weird team. So maybe they want to chuck on some weird defense on Anubis, because I think Anubis might be the best map to bunker up and chuck in something like a Torbjorn or a Symmetra or something weird like that. So I still have really no idea what to expect. And this series is still pretty close, despite Diamond Surfers not having yet actually converted a map.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely been a very close back and forth series, as you say, and I think it really is just MegaKontrol. They're able to, when the chips are down, get those key picks, get those key kills. And we're seeing it again and again. Like, Ricky Maro has just been so good on this Winston at chasing down those kills. We've seen so many people get staggered out by it. It just buys so much time off the clock. It converts into so much value down the track, even if it doesn't immediately show value. And I think that's really the big difference maker. It's just the fact that there are so many extra staggers happening in favor of MegaKontrol.
Yeah, I think that you're definitely right on the value component. Like, every small thing and every ability, even if it isn't like resulting in a kill on the kill feed, is setting up someone else or creating some kind of positioning deficit or anything like that. It's just really smart, disciplined use of the abilities. And MegaKontrol has a really good mind for that kind of stuff, and I think that is what sets them apart. They're not only mechanically very, very good, but as a team and strategically, they know what they're doing. They have a very firm grasp on how they want to play what they're playing, and I think that, like I said, is just the big differentiator.
Yeah, I think another big difference I've noticed is just how aggressive Giant McFlurry is on that Moira. I know that DPS Moira is a bit of a meme, but they have absolutely been confirming kills on the Moira with or without Coalescence, and it has made such a difference in so many of these fights. Because, you know, if people are getting away on low health, getting healed up, that's a lot of extra ult charge to your healers. And Jaya is not only keeping their ones alive, but they are also just melting down those enemy ones as well. And it's not uncommon to see Jaya get 2 or 3 final blows in a fight, strange as it would seem.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job at balancing those responsibilities of a Moira player. Because the big toss-up when you're playing Moira is when do you heal and when do you damage. And he seems to have a very solid idea of when he's meant to be doing what thing, and most of the time it seems like he's making the right decision. And it's the minimal amount of mistakes that are being made from MegaKontrol is just really, really good, because if you don't make mistakes, it's so hard for just an easy fight to go against you. Like, you're not going to be like, oh, rats, they didn't even do an exceptionally good job, we just messed up. So they are definitely getting beaten more than they are losing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the ball will be now in the Diamond Surfers' court to try and make it happen now as we move on to Assault. They've had a bit of a 2-minute mental break, so they've got a chance to get some water, get their mental game back under control. And certainly Assault also tends to slow down the pace of the game as well. So plenty of opportunity to bounce back from this one, but we need to find some sort of answer to what they're running into here.
Yeah, I think that 2CP, particularly in these, like when the offense is about to cap point 2, those fights are going to get so scrappy and fast that it'll be very reminiscent of Control, which is, it doesn't sound right, but I have a feeling that that's where this is going to go. But judging of my takes tonight, I'll just be proven completely wrong, and both teams are going to roll out on goats.
Oh dear.
And we are going to Anubis Peronius.
Yeah.
So I think I'm a fan of the Anubis pick. Again, this is where MegaKontrol went last week. Big deja vu happening here, and they played it really solidly. And as we saw earlier tonight as well, Anubis opens up the opportunity for something like a Widowmaker, or even a Pharah was ran. I'm pretty sure it was ran, yeah. And something that I do want to point out, last week on the defense, Shiloh was rocking the Torbjorn.
Okay.
So that is to be fair, it didn't have a lot of success. He got displaced very, very early by a Wrecking Ball and just booped into the enemy team, and it was just not a good sight for him at all. But they might go for it again, and it looks like they are. Oh, I did something right!
I've seen a few interesting strats with the Torbjorn on this map, so I'm not too surprised by the pick. Certainly, with some of the Torbjorn changes, there is room for... Huh? Is it rolling out? It is rolling out, okay. Certainly, yeah, we have seen... it's been a not too uncommon pick in a lot of first point control for a long time. It's not always been meta, but it's always been a viable strategy because that turret gives you just an extra off angle that the attackers have to deal with as they look to take control of the point. But I've actually seen some interesting strats that run the Torb on the second point of Anubis as well. I think that just comes down to being able to Molten Core all over that point and the area denial there.
Yeah, the area denial of Torbjorn is going to be very, very important, especially in denying that kind of left room where the Sombra and the Reaper are going at the moment on the offense. But the team's playing very, very split on this offense, and the Torbjorn turret's just going to get taken down, and not a decent amount of space has been conceded, but no actual kills have gone through.
Yeah, not a lot of kills, but gotten a lot of early damage in there, gotten a lot of early progress, and it forces abilities out onto that turret there. They had to commit resources just to get rid of a Torbjorn turret, which really slows down this push. And you can see how slow it is as it's coming in. We're finally seeing some commitment coming through, but even then, the fence is really running them low, running them around. Rikimara getting very low, however, and Kanakamai going down means that This is the go button here for the Diamond Surfers. They look to commit on here. Just trying to deal with that main tank. Winston hacked down. He's not going to be able to escape for much longer. Archimedes will confirm that one in there. Hero alive on the point, looking to make something happen. Have to worry about that Reaper getting a little too close, though. Hack on the Lucio, not the most high-value target out there, but it will stop the healing, and that's all they need to clean up the rest of it. That will be the point flip for Diamond Surfers.
Yeah, that flip came through, and that whole fight was started off by the returning Kanakamai. And it just got he tried to back off into a corner, but Arrow, who was already behind the team, just landed the hack. The 2 tanks collapsed on him, and it was game over for the Diva in that case. But on the bright side, they lost that fight, and no real ults were used. The only ult that was used was the Nano Boost onto the Winston on the side of Brook. So this is going to be a very ult-heavy fight once again. And I'd like to point out the positioning of the Torbjorn turret. It's only going to get value once it's onto the point, but won't also receive damage until the team's on the point.
Ooh, that's both healing down by Shillo. That is so big. And yeah, I do like that Torbjorn turret placement because, again, it's just about setting up that off angle that forces the attackers to have to commit resources just to stop a constant stream of damage onto them. So I do really like it. It's the sort of annoying angles you love to see from it. But, oh man, Shillo just shutting down that push with the Molten Core so cleanly. It's just a super late stagger on the Brock as well. This is looking really good. The defense sort of stabilizing here after losing A.
Yeah, Anubis and Divas do not go well together. Like, they've just had a bit of a rough run tonight. Multiple staggers coming out. But there is a Beyblade potential on the side of Diamond Surfers, and there's no like sound barrier to go against that, because Squidgy, you had to use it in the previous fight. But on the bright side, the Torbjorn turret is in a different spot, sitting all the way back on the point.
Yeah, Blossom committed in from Not Bubbles, but the Matrix is there to eat a lot of the damage from that. Cosmetics answering back with their own. Sound barrier being committed, trying to keep it up. Cosmetics have managed to pick up Not Bubbles, so taking down their counterpart. Kanakamai under a lot of pressure as well. Is looking really good, but they've lost Brook, and that is a big killer to lose in a fight where the defense is so close to trickle back onto this point. They're going to have to keep getting more kills if they want to stream this one through, but it looks like the defense starting to really get restabilized there. And they're going to make use of that Hack Sombra pack, but I don't know how long they can push this one up. It does look like the defense can allow Cosmetics still fighting against it. Actually going to commit the Death Blossom into this one, trying to make it happen. Heroes pick up Rikimaru as well, but the kill's still overwhelmingly in favor of their opponents of MegaKontrol, and I think it's just not viable to keep committing things into this. We see the EMP coming out. Sound Barrier at least gets committed to answer it, but Diamond Surfers, they threw a lot into that one, and they walk away with nothing to show for it.
Nah, kind of a big swing, no ding kind of moment there from Arrow. Went for the EMP. I could have maybe understood it if it caught Squidgy, but it didn't, and Squidgy just popped the stamina, completely nullifying that ultimate. Just, again, Squidgy being so on the ball with his positioning. And again, another Torbjorn turret placement, almost like outside the map. This is, again, only going to be effective once the dive kind of reaches a point, but it's so out of reach that it's going to be so difficult to take down. As I say that, it is taken down on the very, very far side by the Lucio. But now, Arrow has swapped off the Sombra onto the Widow, just positioning himself up on that arch. It's going to be able to rain in the damage right down the gullet of the choke. And now the tanks and the rest of MegaKontrol have to be so careful about where they stay.
Yeah, Shillo just picking a duel with a Widowmaker. Now going to step onto the point, drop the Molten Cores. A Primal Raging Winston that's just going to run all through this lava. But Shillo does get cleaned up there in the end. Oh, the lava, it burns so bad. Oh, and that fight spins around despite the early kills coming through. MegaKontrol will keep control at this point, and now this is the lone Diva getting horribly, horribly staggered. She's remaking There's so much free ultimate. Why? Why would you do that?
Okay, chat, say it with me. Obtuse rubber goose, green moose, guava juice. That's what Brock was right there. That was not the right play at all. But swapping over to the Zarya either way, kind of fed up with that as well. And that's okay. So the Brock switch onto the Zarya is just going to provide a bit of more frontline presence onto Archimedes. You can just kind of swing down the Rhine as wholesale composition swaps kind of come through. But yes, the Ryan's just gonna hope to get onto the point, and once it's on there, just kind of swing and hold that position on the point. But not Bubbles with the Death Blossom is gonna want to be stopping that this whole time.
Kamai looking to brawl this one out. They have Diva Bomb ready to go. Death Blossom in over the top. Matrix is there, but not quick enough to save Squidgy. Cosmo Alex getting a lot of work in with those shotguns. This is the fight that they need to try and flip this point. MegaKontrol finally in trouble, but it's still not happening quickly enough. Cosmo Alex does prevent the remake though. Finally, they get a tick of progress. Second tick coming in there as well. And yeah, barely, just barely, people meant to get to the point. They still have to deal with these Hellfire shotguns from Cosmo Alex. But the Molten Core is out, and that is a lot of burning pain there, all over the point there. Ricky Maru really struggling to contest with this Wrecking Ball.
Okay, Cap with time left. That 13 seconds is so important. So now there's no way that we'll get another situation like... I completely forgot what hybrid map we played. Wait, Sorry. We did play Arkham Wars. There's no way that we'll get a cap... in our earlier series tonight where you cap in overtime and then you're just going to have a, like, the best you can do is draw kind of situation. They do cap with time left, which is very important. 13 seconds might seem like much, but it's going to be coming back very handy in a short moment. So this time we're going to see MegaKontrol on the offense. And there's opportunities again for a Widowmaker to set up on the arch. But of course, then you'd have to watch out for the positioning of the counter Widow. I think it's going to be a very similar Anubis to what we saw in our first match tonight. It's the Widow battles coming through, seeing who's going to position themselves right, who gets the more support and the shields from their team. There's a big difference in how these are being played, is that they're being played with dive tanks. So there's no real shield that you can just kind of dump on the Widow and then leave it there. The Widow has to be really practical and proactive in how she positions herself. But either way, it's going to be looking like dive either way. And I imagine that MegaKontrol is going to want to go left. Just get into that small room as soon as you can, because once you're in that room, the Widowmaker really can't land any shots onto you. And as they path left whole way, Defense Matrix out, keeping everyone alive, that is what's going to happen. And from here, Shiloh's going to die, but from this kind of room, they can take control of the Mega Pack and then look for a dive.
Yeah, the problem is they're running into a Reaper here. A lot of pressure coming out from Aero, and it's really hard to push into that with the Winston. Aero is just licking their chops there. Does actually get a little too greedy and gets picked up there by Kanakamai. That's going to be an opportunity now to push forwards. And the res comes through, but Moby gives their life to make it happen. And Shiloh again, actually Shiloh this time winning the duel against Cosmo Alex. So we will see. Oh, Archimedes goes for the chase, and just Shiloh putting on a show here and now picking apart this defense piece by piece.
Yeah, Shiloh just landing those shots. We're having a lot of good sniper play tonight. I know the FPS fans out there always love a good sniper match. But again, Ricky Murray is just taking really early control of his high ground. And that is just so detrimental to the success of the fight. Because if you get high ground, then you can secure that for one of your own DPS. And now Brock is caught in a bad situation. He needs to get out with his mech, and it looks like he's going to just very close call there. That's a Gillette kind of moment. Very close shave. And yeah, now the dive is going to come in onto the second point. Ultimates are going to be coming up mostly during the fight or very early on into the fight. But Not Bubbles is going to ignore all of that.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage being thrown in over the top. Huge death losses from Not Bubbles. Kanakamai doing well as well. Aero goes for the reverse. Death Blossom does manage to pick up Squidgy, but it might not be enough to turn this fight around because there are really not that many members. That said, respawns are starting to come back onto the point. Bit of desperation territory, but that's actually going to be a retreat from the attackers there. So despite the early advantage coming through for the members of MegaKontrol, they are going to get repelled from this point by the Diamond Surfers.
Brock just had an absolute stinker of a fight. Gets D-Mech, leaves Mech. Half a second after he's out of Mech, the self-destruct goes off in his face. That is so rough, buddy. But that's okay, didn't have to invest the Diva Bomb. And now that Diva Bomb will just be able to be chucked onto the point once MegaKontrol has occupied it. Either that, or they can try and chuck it into the room in conjunction with like a boop from a Wrecking Ball to try and just push everyone into the bomb. But this Diva Bomb is going to be very, very important.
Yeah, they're committing into this one, and already we see a lot of effort being put in. Giant McFlurry's got the Coalescence out, trying to hose anyone down, but Moby just sticking to the skies, got the Valkyrie out, keep everyone up and healthy. We finally see Squidgy picking up Brook there, and Not Bubbles demeching Brock as well. So we're finally starting to see some things fall. Even if I say that Archimedes with the minefield on the point, huge amount of disruption from that, and it really forcing people to play into the game. Archimedes getting so much done on this Wrecking Ball. Shilo, though, at the tail end of the fight, does get a couple of kills, but it's just too little too late there. And once again, MegaKontrol sent back to spawn.
Yeah, those late picks kind of not going to come to any sort of fruition. It was just, like you said, just simply too late. There's not enough time for the respawners to come back from the offense before they are already back from defense because of how close 2CP spawns are. There's some nice voice line spam going on from the Reaper as well, and Cosmo Alex just gets his head ripped off by Shilo. Shilo is not having it, and now since the Diva has left that high ground, he'll be able to take that high ground for himself.
Well, Not Bubbles has got the Death Blossom getting really aggressive on those supports, but not willing to let it rip there when the Anna's probably still got the Sleep Dart. Then gets punched into the pillar there by Cosmo Alex. Now Aero letting it rip there over the top. That should be a good defense there, but again, that's a lot of progress being made on that one. 72.9%. They are so tantalizingly close to closing that one out.
Yeah, it was a very, very close for that capture coming through, and that would be a very hefty time bank advantage as well. But as it turns out, that will not be it. Aero just getting a really nice Death Blossom cleanup. The bomb was out, but he was just uncontested during that. There was no kind of shutdown onto him, no sound barrier, no defense matrix of any sorts. As Brook kind of lobs in the nade, just denying that kind of pathing left from the attacker's side, that's just really good because that just zones them out, and now the attack has to go all the way back, completely reset. They've actually just bought a free 30 seconds just from that one nade shutting them off. It was really intelligent play, and now they're going to probably look to go left again. And the reason they go left, and I imagine the Widowmaker will stay behind, is because so I lied, they go straight. Why do I talk?
So they're committing in with the sound barrier, going straight into this one. Big anti-grenade, however, so much damage immediately. Brock gets a huge self-destruct over the top, and that attack was over before it even began. They committed the sound barrier. They actually didn't commit all that much into it. The defense committed a lot of resources, so maybe an opportunity here, but they still need to make it happen in this next push.
Yeah, it's all coming down to, this is essentially final fight territory here for MegaKontrol. On the right side, they do have a lot of ultimates. The Slam and the Death Blossom are very easily comboable. That is a word, yeah. And as you see, they're pathing left again. And that's just setting up as much space as they can.
Big shatter.
But
Rikimara immediately hit with the CC, has to back off, not able to follow through on top of that. Archimedes actually gets it with the Fire Strike. Such a huge play from Archimedes here. And Not Bubbles just going ham on these Hellfire Shotguns in the duel with Aero, but the damage boost there is something to worry about. They need to equalize here. MegaKontrol want to make it happen. Big shatter coming back from Archimedes, who has just absolutely come alive on this defense here. Oh no.
yeah.
Oh.
Divas are having such a rough time. And yeah, finally dies. Squidgy is going to be going for some kind of miracle touch, but there is so much CC to shut him down. Looks like he still might get it though, honestly. Yeah, he does. Overtime is in effect, and Rikimara is just going to be going onto the point in aid of the Coalescence.
Yeah, Giant McFlurry with the Coalescence straight down the top. Rikimara, however, gets taken out. That is a nano-boosted Reaper. There's a lot of damage there. Shilo gets caught out by the counter button, Cosmo Alex. And Cosmo Alex going ham. Picks up a second one and Not Bubbles. This is looking so good for Diamond Surfers, who I think are going to pick this one up. It's just a matter of cleaning up the last couple of members. Kind of why getting staggered out of mech one last time. And Diamond Surfers will get themselves on the board.
the undefeated map streak of MegaKontrol has come to an end, and we have a series on our hands, Peronius. We definitely do, and that was a really nice team play around Anubis. Like, just MegaKontrol was just
came alive in that series. I think like just the difference we saw in the main tank play there compared to the previous maps was really instrumental to making that one happen. Just so many great plays there from the Diamond Surfer's main tank.
Yeah, Archimedes is definitely having a good one. Hopefully he can take it on to our next map in the series, which is either going to be Junkertown or Gibraltar. Either way, going to favor the snipers. We've seen both sides have solid sniper play. So I think there's definitely potential to go for a map 5 here. We have yet to see a MegaKontrol on an escort map this season of AOL in Season 11. So I'm unsure of what to really expect. But the pick of Gibraltar does make a lot of sense. They're playing that Winston, they're playing that Diva. You'd be silly to not pick Gibraltar, honestly. There's so much high ground to exploit.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
There it is again.
I'm having an absolute stinker. Man,
Still, I like the commitment. I like the willingness to commit to things, even if it doesn't end up being correct. Because if you don't commit to it, then how will you ever seem like a prophet if you don't make those predictions? You gotta be in it to win it, as they say.
why would you not go Gibraltar? It was MegaKontrol's pick. The only reason that I can kind of come to in my head is that they have some kind of set strategy, or they just have been unable to execute a really solid dive on Gibraltar, because Gibraltar kind of forces it's more of a dive than a rush. And the way that MegaKontrol play their composition, they definitely play it as kind of a hybrid. So it's just really, if they just play their Winston Sombra stuff, I might just leave the call.
It's the second time you threatened that. They will. But it's Winston Sombra coming out on the defense here for MegaKontrol. It's the same comp we've seen from them so far.
Man, I'm fed up.
And he's gone. No, he's back, of course.
Do the joke, I'm sorry. Running the Winston Sombra on the defense, it's just their go-to, and it's going to be almost a mirror on the side of Diamond Surfers, but I think the big difference has been throughout this whole series, Brook on the Ana not opting for that Moira, but the defense is playing very, very aggressive.
Yeah, they go for the immediate aggression, but Cosmo Alex there to punish it, gets the headshot into not bubbles, and that's going to immediately flip things. Once you lose that Reaper, that's your main source of damage gone. And, well, now we see Cosmo Alex looking to take some more angles. Bubbles in the way, though, gets very low. Diamond Flurry will pick up that one. A nice turnaround there, but Shiloh putting in the work on the Sombra, showing that, yeah, look, I can kill things. It's not just the Reaper. He's going to get pinned into the corner, though. Archimedes already with the Primal, and that is going to do so much damage there. Now we have Cosmo Alex back on the Doomfist once again. This is really scrappy around this point here. But again, Diamond Surfers, they're making it work. They're making it work.
Yeah, you're right. And that fight was so in favor. There's just so much. It was such a long fight that Aero is up with that EMP, and Shiloh is not too far behind either. But I think that since Brock is also at this bomb, there's high potential for an EMB bomb combo once the MegaKontrol engage. Once they've all used their movement abilities onto the point, it's EMP bomb them, and I think that's going to secure a bunch of kills.
There's the EMP, there's the bomb, as predicted. Bomb goes off, huge! Rickamara not bubbles removed, as well as Kanakamay's mech. John McFlurry looking to clean up on some of that as well. As Aero gets in on the tag team, that's the counterpart in Shiloh gone. And that should be the point A captured pretty convincingly. It's really hard to be running defense Winston on that first point to begin with.
Yeah, also, I actually got something right tonight. So we are back on the ball. But yeah, I think the kind of one bright side of losing that fight kind of so convincingly is that all the defensive high ground is already given to MegaKontrol. They can just hold it, do whatever they want. But you can see Arrow playing very, very far forward, scouting out that information, giving it to the rest of his team.
Oh, it's a big hack.
Big hack. Cosmo Alex just extending slightly, and Shiloh with a bomb of his own. EMP of his own.
And I'm liking this MegaKontrol just committing in on this one. Now that they've got the numbers advantage, why wouldn't you? And they are just taking apart this offense just off the back of a good hack onto the Doomfist.
Yeah, the hack came through, and Charlotte didn't even have to use EMP to secure that. No ults were really used. The fight just kind of went their way. And now this fight is going to be very, very difficult for the side of Diamond Surfers to break through. They're basically playing into 5 ults. Yeah, they're coming up on 5 of their own, or 4. But I think they should just kind of treat this as an eco push, and then try and come back another day.
Yeah, well, Shiloh's committed the EMP there, so they're starting to get some ultimates out. They have committed the Valkyrie into this one just to try and keep everyone topped up. Rikimaru also going in with the Primal. So a lot of defensive ults being used here. Now the Nano though, they're definitely not taking this one as an eco. They're going into this one. There's a nice hack from Shiloh onto the D.Va, but well, it doesn't lead to much. Has to translocate out and actually gets caught into the edge of that one as well. Cosmo Alex back into the fray, looking to punch some stuff. Does manage to get the slam in there, nothing connected with it, and actually gets taken out by Squidgy there. So the fight really devolving into a bit of a mess here, but Diamond Surfers still pushing forwards with this one. They've got the numbers advantage on there as they just clean up the last few remaining members of MegaKontrol.
Yeah, you're right. That devolved into kind of like your 3v3 arcade game mode. And it's just... And that... When it kind of devolves into that, I think it's so hard for a composition. I guess that's when someone like the Moira and the Lucio for either side can just start to pop off. But it didn't come through either way. And now we are back on the fidget spinner for the defense. And Arrow is just farming his way up to another EMP. It manages to get through stealth, and Shiloh has one of his own. What he combos it with is going to be really interesting, because I'm unsure how he'll approach it. Or he could just kill Arrow.
Yeah, that works too. A lot of pressure being put down from the high ground, but Rikimaru catches asleep. A bit of a brawl over the payload, just trying to deal with that Ash and Mercy in the tunnels, and the good jump from Rikimaru will take out one. Ash super low as well. Squidgy will get the melee finisher onto that one. So this payload looking very much like it's going to come back under Mega's control, and it's just waiting till that D.Va runs away. A late kill with Shiloh means maybe an opportunity, but with Archimedes going down there as well, not so much of an opportunity after all.
Yeah, these fights constantly from MegaKontrol throughout this series are just being won off the back of like minimal ultimates, and it's making these defenses so prolonged because they always have a fighting chance. There isn't much times where MegaKontrol are like, okay, just treat this as an eco push and back up. They always have something that they can invest.
Cosmo Alex under a lot of pressure will get taken out there, and Not Bubbles has cleaned up the ball as well. So that is one big player off the field here already. MegaKontrol, they've won this defensive fight. Diamond Surfers, they don't want to commit any further. They already know it's over.
Nah, that's very smart of them. They need to back up. They already invested a lot. The Bob just kind of sent down into that health pack room. I understand like that kind of gives it a sightline onto the point, but it just didn't get much value. And Arrow gets taken out with EMP. That's like a solid 10-20 seconds bought for the defense.
Yeah,
just by that one pick, they need to wait for Arrow to get back. But Squidgy is down. They need to engage while Squidgy is down. And because now without the Lucio, it'll be so much harder for them to escape from a dive. But Rikimaru
putting in work here and now, and we have a couple of self-destructs over the top. Arrow drops an EMP. Kanakamai picks up 3 with with that self-destruct over the top, not even with the assistance of the EMP on that one, other than the zoning being provided, I suppose. But in the end, that looked like maybe, just maybe, Diamond Surface was going to get it going there, and the D.Va shuts it down cold.
Nah, that bomb from Kana was so smooth. Archimedes was trying his best to escape, just slightly mistimed that jump and just kind of hit the top of the ledge, and it just didn't quite get him indoors in time, making that a 3k. And now look how aggressive MegaKontrol are playing, not giving any room at all on the cart.
Yeah, Ricky Mario going ham in the room there. A lot of people low, but isn't able to close it out. They do actually get the kill onto Era there, but the res is immediately there. Kanakamai still take that Cosmo Alex. Oh, no bubbles. Huge Death Blossom. Looked like it would, wasn't going to pay off. Came very close, but absolutely pick up the Mercy is big. Joe McFlurry now hosing people down with that coalescence, which I've said far too many times tonight. And once again, MegaKontrol again keeping control of this payload. 10 seconds left on the clock. It is desperation territory, and I do not think that Diamond Surface are going to get back on this payload.
Well, there is a Sombra. No, the Sombra does just get the touch. There's potential for him to farm up an EMP as well if he manages to stay alive.
Yeah, they're trickling back onto this one, but the sound barrier has been committed. The defense has so many resources here. And Moby having to come down, gets the res onto Brook just to keep the team alive. They need both of their healers in this fight. There's the EMP over the top. It's a big one, but maybe not big enough. Kanakamai still picking up people, and that's it. That is the round over there, as MegaKontrol successfully holds it at the start of C.
Yeah, not much progress was made into that third point. I don't even think they got to start turning that kind of first 180 corner. They didn't even quite get to that. So this is like, they don't need, for the offense here now, they don't even have to push through the hardest part of Junkertown C.
Nope.
If they get like a dominant, so let's say hypothetically the offense wins the fight to cap B at the very end in like an overtime kind of situation. They will have so much time after that, after the team wipe, to go forward, take positioning on the high ground as the door opens, and it'll just be a clear way for the card to go through. Like, the door itself does have to open, which is a bit of a hindrance, but other than that, the path of victory here is pretty clear for MegaKontrol, hoping that we don't have MegaKontrol hoping that they don't have to go to a map 5.
Yeah.
Us as casters, we want it to go to a map 5, but there's... Oh, what's this? Potentially not Reaper Sombra? I don't want to get my hopes up, but it's looking like maybe a double sniper offense? I'm being so tentative, I hate it. No, it looks like they're actually rolling out for it, at least for some early peaks. The double sniper here makes a lot of sense. There's just so many sightlines to exploit, and the Mercy just playing with the Widow is gonna give Shiloh a 1-up on Cosmo Alex in that Widow 1v1 all the time, because it's no longer a 1v1, it's a 2v1. So Cosmo Alex needs to be very wary of that, or he can just die to not bubbles.
It's also good. Yeah, it's the trouble with it. This has been the traditional opening for a reason. Oh no, the poor Reaper just appearing in front of 2 snipers there. Lucky to get away with their life arrow is, but they'll go straight into that lovely healing battery named Winston. In the end, not able to do enough. Kanakamai, not bubbles, surging forwards here. MegaKontrol looking so good as they get a lot of early progress here. They've taken control of the area around the end of A.
Yeah, notably as well, Jai McFlurry is onto the Ana, so it's almost a triple sniper. I don't think that's the main kind of function of how the Ana wants to be played. The Ana is just letting so many bio nades onto his own team and onto the enemy. It's just so hard to break through when those bio nades are landing with so much value.
Yeah, and Bubbles on the Hanzo here, just lining up these shots in point blank range. Actually gets taken down by Brock, but probably too little too late. Kanakamai and, Kanakamai getting a lot of final blows there, but Ricky Mario helping pick up everyone as well. 5 minutes left on the clock as they get through A. This is not the point A defense that the members of Diamond Surface really wanted here, considering how little map room they've got to play with.
Nah, and look at the positioning that the snipers on the offense are taking. They're going so far forward, and also note that they aren't at the same place. The Hanzo is really far on the left and the Widowmaker's far on the right. That is just to create a crossfire, because now they can dive the Hanzo or the Widow, and there's damage coming from both sides. Their attention is split, and attention is a resource. As soon as that attention is split, you're already at a big advantage going into that fight.
Yeah, Rikimaru looking to flush out this DPS. This could actually be big. Drop the Primal. We've got 2 DPS and the Lucio there on them. They're not getting the kills, and they actually get worn down by it during the rest of the fight. However, because of the lack of DPS on the field, MegaKontrol have managed to get a fair bit of work done. Maybe not enough work. The DPS returning to the fight, picking up the remaining members. Shiloh's still alive, but yeah, they're just going to have to back away from that one. 4 minutes left on the clock, and finally Diamond Surfers, they've secured a defensive point. They've dug in. Now it's time for the long haul.
Yeah, but now the script is flipped. Now the Snipers on the defense have all the room to work with. And you can see the pathing from MegaKontrol going through right side, sorry, going all the way under and indoors, just avoiding that Widow sight line as much as they can.
Yeah, Charlotte's going to get res back from Squidgy. Self-destruct, not able to get anything just yet, but McFlurry really struggling to keep people up in the thing. Oh, that's a great sleep onto the Winston. Why did they wake it up? Okay, that was Winston was low. Fair enough. That said, Hanamakai not able to get back into the mech, get her head taken off by Arrow before that can happen. Arrow gets jumped on in return, and this is a bit of a messy fight, but MegaKontrol are grinding this one out.
Yeah, it was just a bit of a battle of attrition there, and the offense got up, but the recontest is going to come through. That's what these high mobility tanks allow you to do. They allow you to take as many fights as possible.
Yeah, really nice from Not Bubbles though. It's going to pick up Crook after the help of Shiloh there. Arrow's still at large, going to take out Shiloh, and Not Bubbles going to take out Arrow as well. Rikimaru's still alive on the cart, just zapping everyone with his Tesla cannon, trying to clean them out. Such a grind for the point, but he's got the Primal Rage. He's going to pop it and go deep, chasing these DPS. That's the Moira and the Ash kept out of the fight. Cosmonics finally caught in a corner. Will get taken out. Now Rikimaru trying to make their way back into the team fight. Not Bubble's still alive and at large on the point, putting in so much damage from their Hanzo handlers. And Shiloh making it back into the fight as well. Finally, MegaKontrol making this one happen. We see another recontest coming through, but Archimedes can't keep that one alive, and Arrow finally deleted as well, thanks to Not Bubbles. It is so close to that yellow box of victory.
That was such a good bob from Cosmo Alex on that defense. It was just chucking onto the car, bought so much time, really well positioned, even while it was being attacked by Rikimaru with the Primal. Of course, it didn't actually result in anything, and that early pick is not good. This final fight to keep their series alive is going to be a 5v6 Peronius.
Yeah, it sure is. Arrow under a lot of pressure. Kanakamai jumping on that as well. It's going to prevent that damage from the fight. And Rikimaru is going to pick up Arrow over the top. Guy McFlurry doing a lot of work here on the Ana. Rikimaru really picking up several. And there's Jai with the Biotic Grenade as well, keeping the thing alive and getting the flinching blow onto Archimedes. This is so close to getting across the line. Just one or two people still trickling onto the point. I don't think that the Hanzo is going to be able to get on there to keep it alive. No, it's just a matter of cleanup. The Traits are doing their best to keep it going, and only a matter of time, but it can be so hard to run down there. Arrow gets cleaned up. The Reinhardt charging back through across. Still just overwhelmingly MegaKontrol. I think their spawn is slightly close, but they will grind this one out. And it is, yeah, that's it. That's going to be it. They just need to deal with this Wrecking Ball, and they will pick up this map, pick up this match, and take home the series.
Yeah, the staggers have been so good time-wise, but they just aren't actually getting those kills where the fight can kind of start to be flipped. And there it is. It's being booped off the point, and GG's all around. MegaKontrol take the series 3-1, remaining undefeated in this division. And that was just a really strong showing from them throughout. They've found what they want to do as a team very early on into their lifespan. They've found that this is the comp that they excel at. This is the kind of communication structure and fight structure that we want to go for, and they're just going for it each and every time. They just played it really, really well. But I think the key to beating this team in future is just kind of figuring out how they want to dissect this Winston Reaper Sombra kind of comp. Because as soon as they do that, they're falling back on something that they are obviously not as comfortable with.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so I think that in future, with these two maps, these two matches to review available, both of which will be on their AOE Sports YouTube channels and as the VOD on this Twitch channel as well. So they can go watch that back, and so can you. And really quickly, I wanted to hear your suggestion of a MVP for this match.
Now that's a hard one because this MegaKontrol composition here really does rely on a lot of different working parts. But I think the standout player for me, more often than not, has been Rikimaru on the Winston. I mean, the main tank, they've got a lot riding on their shoulders already, but the sheer amount of kills that they've chased down, denied people getting away, and cleaned up in those rough fights puts them out on top for me, I think.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that, because also all of these dives would be just coordinated by the main tank. That's a part of the main tank's job. Not only is he like the kind of central mechanical pillar of the team, he's also the communication pillar alongside Squidgy on the Lucio. Squidgy also had a very strong performance throughout, had a really good balance of when to play as a quote-unquote Reddit Lucio, or just when to play really defensively with his team. Just really good play all around, but I cannot argue with that Rikimaru pick for MVP.
Yeah, definitely. That's it. I'm really impressed with how these games have unfolded, both this one and our earlier match tonight. Just a lot of great Overwatch all around. It's great to be back here with AAOL, and looking forward to more in the future. We will be back next week, of course, with more games. And keep an eye out on those AOE socials as well. So we'll be announcing new tournaments as they come up. So keep your eyes peeled on that, because there may well be some stuff coming out soon. And before we sign off, anything more you want to bring up as well, Nikki?
Just a big thank you to, again, our sponsor, My Republic Gamer, for making this stream possible and as functioning as it is. And yeah, just thank you for the players as well for just playing a really good match, giving an absolute just abundance of Overwatch to talk about.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to be all from us this evening. So until next time, take care, stay safe, look after yourselves, and we'll see you all real soon.